Evening, everyone.
Hey,
Welcome to the War Ball. Good evening, panel. Ultimate Greatness, aka Sean, Chris, Daz, Stu.
Hey, Matt. Hey, Matt.
I just want to start off by saying I'm not mad at Darcy Moore. I'm not mad at Ned Long. They just shouldn't be inside. This is on Fly. Why doesn't Ned Long and Darcy Moore, who come back through the VFL like everyone else? Because Darcy Moore is not playing that game, we win. It's as simple as that. I feel sorry for Darcy Moore. He's the game's gone past him.
I don't. He's been playing like this for years, and he's been getting away with it. If any of my footballers went third up in a contest, I'd be dragging them or berating them. That is
This is what I'm saying, Stu.
Fucking football
he's not good enough.
I've ever seen. And undisciplined. He is the worst, and I will say this categorically, the worst Collingwood captain that I have seen in my 50-odd years. He's the worst.
He's the worst league captain I've ever seen in my time. And I haven't been watching footy as long as you, Stu. Maybe nearly as much. You got a few years on me.
Not too much difference.
Yeah, we're basically the same generation. Pathetic.
That's it, mate.
Absolutely pathetic.
He needs to. I'm being serious. He needs to stop this. Fucking Brunswick Street. I'm a Brunswick Street tripper dude, and cut his fucking hair. Get fucking serious and be a fucking leader. Because that tonight was a disgrace. He spoiled Frampton. He spoiled Darcy Cameron. He spoiled Steen. And then he knocked Maynard out of the way, dropped the mark, Falconed it, and then wraps what's his name around the neck. Fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. But we've seen this before. We've had plenty of samples over the last 3 years.
For sure.
So what you've got a guy who's hardly played this year. So it just comes to a boiling point where all of his fuck ups just come in the one game. And listening to Anthony and I respect other people's opinions, but this is a game we should have won. We had that game tied up, and he could have that mark he dropped. He could have taken that on his chest.
Yeah. Well, the thing was, it was Maynard's mark. It was Maynard's mark, and he bumps him out of the way. What the fuck was he doing? Maynard was in the sixth. It was absolutely terrible. It was embarrassing. I mean, we drew. We played really well. We stopped Hawthorn's momentum, all of that. But jeez.
It come back to bite us, mate. And his lack of pre-season, he was as nervous as a cat. He panicked. He was like a deer in headlights. Right, not just in the last quarter, right throughout the whole game. And his captain, he was our worst player. He was a liability.
Absolutely.
There were so many times.
That, though, the question I would put to you guys, though, is that who would be more at fault? Would it be Fly for selecting him, knowing that he had this form, or is it on Darcy?
Is my point.
I'm actually more in the. I'm more on the point where it's actually Fly because Fly's the one that's picking the side. I don't think when it comes to the selection table, Darcy Moore is I'm good to go, so I'm playing, get stuffed. So to me, of course, Darcy needs playing. I'm not trying to sit here and say that Darcy.
He is a professional greatness. He's a professional athlete. He is paid to play football. That is his job. That is his profession. That is what he chooses to do. And if he turns out like that, that is on him. Now,
absolutely.
Let me ask you one question.
There's actually more blame on Fly for picking him, because because at the end of the day, there would not be any difference. Obviously, maybe form might have been better. But if he'd come in this week, if he came in a month later, 2 months later, at least he would have had more of a run to get some training sessions in to to improve, even play through the VFL.
It's got nothing to do with
as much as
form.
Hey, Stu, we're not giving him an out. We're absolutely not giving him an
absolutely
out.
not. Absolutely not.
No, but
what I'm trying to say is that it's more on the club than it is Darcy.
Stu, would you pick more next week?
No.
Okay.
No, I
do you
won't
think
either.
I will?
But he plays.
He will. Of course he will. Of course he will.
Okay, great. Exactly. We agree. He shouldn't be in the side.
No.
But what I'm trying to say is that the onus, you're diverting off Darcy more.
No, I'm not.
I'm actually not. But what I'm saying is that
because you said the fault is the fly. It's not the fly's fault that he played like that.
Of course there's also.
Are you surprised?
Of course there is a percentage of like picking him though. Because
are you surprised that he played like this?
Me?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Exactly.
No.
So then why are we picking him?
Yeah,
because
he's the captain.
Yes, we pick. He's captain. He has to get picked. We have a problem at Collingwood where there's automatic selections. Ned Long is an automatic selection. He was diabolical tonight, and he was managed so that he didn't have to come. If he'd played VFL last week, he would have got his 15 possessions, pretty hacky, and Allen would have made him look stupid with his 29. I'm not saying Allen should be in the side, but Allen
should be in the side.
He should be in the
side. What I'm saying is, he should be in the side ahead of Moore. Ahead of Long. But what Fly did is he managed him so he didn't have to play him in the VFL. Then he's automatically back in the side for Pendlebury, which shouldn't be the way. This is what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I'm going to put it to you. I mean, I'm not I played okay levels of football, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have played that too. But I guarantee you that no matter if I or any of my teammates put a game in like Darcy Moore tonight, I'd be in that room apologising to every fucking player at my club. That was a disgrace, and he's supposed to be a leader of this club. He is the worst captain at this club and should be sacked immediately, or at the end of the season.
I would say
really like smug face on, like that really like smug smile on his face too. Like even like in the interviews, as if he was like happy with himself. And it's like how are you? How are you happy
after the game?
Yeah.
No way.
And he had this like smug face, like smug smile on his face.
Oh my god!
Being like,
yes.
Yeah, and it's just like I get that. Yeah, like. At the end of the day, like I get that you're the captain, I get you have to be the face of the club, but it's like you've got to just take accountability to some extent and just go, nah, like this one's on me, guys. You know, and it's just the fact that he, because who was it? Mooney. He was interviewed by Mooney. I'm pretty sure it was, and it was just you just looked at his face and it was just all like. It was like it wasn't like laughing or smiling, but it was just that smug like I'm trying to describe what it was. It was like this like smug like, you know, this is my home, like this is my place. And it's just I don't know, it just sort of rubbed me the wrong way, sort of thing. And like
on that greatness, I can't believe that after his game and what he did to draw that game up, he said yes to getting an interview for Mooney. He should have said, no, leave me alone.
Yeah.
He's fucking shit. Why did him? He was piss weak.
Should have walked straight off the ground.
Darcy.
I thought you were joking, Sean, when you said he was interviewed after the game. Cannot believe that. That is just...
Yeah, it was like Mooney. It was straight
after it.
I was watching KO. Yeah. It was like Mooney. I want to say it was Mooney interviewed him.
It was
and
Mooney.
Just had
Cameron Mooney.
Cameron
Mooney. It was straight after. Just and he goes, oh yeah, and he's like, oh, I'm an army, and I'm going, mate.
He's probably delighted it was a draw.
Oh yeah, it makes for good media. It's good social media.
Yeah, talk about the draw. When it could have been a win.
Oh, two great sides, battle it out. This is the perfect result. So cool. Hashtag.
Great for the AFL.
Me too, Manny. Manny.
What about who is that fella on Anthony's channel talking about how we should trade Darcy? Like for who's gonna want Darcy Moore? He wouldn't get a game for any other club.
No. Isn't he 30 as well?
Yeah, 30. 30.
Yeah. So he's he has to be one of the 30+ guys that goes. He's got to be one of the guys that go because he can't. He's just not a good. He was a good footballer about 3 or 4 years ago. Had some really good games around 21, 22, 23. He's been shit for 3 years.
Yep.
He shouldn't be captain. Nick should be captain or Bobby or Brighton Bozzy.
So people say don't pick or play Joel Cochran because he's going to make mistakes. He'll be like a deer in headlights, and you got your 30-year-old, your captain out there, mistake after mistake after mistake, and you just sort of don't ever throw that argument at me and say that Joel Cochran won't be good enough and will make mistakes in a game like that when you got your captain delivering that crap.
1,000%.
Don't ever come out and say that.
You could play Jacob Ryan, or you could play Jacob Ryan too.
Oh,
because Joel Cochran, I reckon, would have made better. Wouldn't have been the type of liability that Darcy was tonight. He would have been out there trying. Yeah. He would have been out there trying.
Alexia Kono 5833. Did you guys love Darcy more in last year's qualifying final? Alexia, can you name me another good game he's played in the last 3 years?
Yeah.
I'll give you a minute.
Ask Matty.
You know what? That makes it worse. Yes, he was good in the qualifying final. That makes it worse because he does that 1 in 15 games.
That's right.
I did. I loved it. I loved Darcy.
Also,
because he does it so rarely.
Can I answer this, Warble? I'm going to say this. Can you tell me that Pendlebury, when he was captain, how many bad games like that did he play? None.
No.
When Nick Maxwell was captain, how many bad games did he play like that? None. Scotty Burns, none. Buckley, none. Tony, Gavin Brown, none. Tony Shaw, none. Even his old man, none. Wayne Thompson, none. Wayne Richardson, none. That's the argument.
Also, for the point, the fact that it's a qualifying final like last year, we also made a semi and also prelim. So there's also 2 games after that qualifying final. So at that point, where was Darcy in the semi and the prelim as well? So there's
correct. Yeah. Yeah. No. Anyway, look. Although who expected to win or draw tonight? I thought we'd actually win. I thought we might win.
I thought we would win. I thought we'd win because we were winning all night until the fucking last quarter.
Yeah.
Poor old. Houston played a good game, but he tapped it down to Watson twice for 2 goals.
Yeah.
There's a couple of glaring errors there. But once that little prick gets the ball in his head, geez, he's quick, isn't he? How quick is he?
Yeah, he's lightning.
God, no one can stop him. There's no one in the league that can stop him. Not one person.
I hate him and I hate giving it. Well. I hate him and giving it.
He's also a Collingwood fan as well, which makes it even more weirder. Yeah, yep.
Oh, you're joking.
Yeah.
And well, I don't think he is anymore, but he was a complete nuffy as well too, just like us.
Oh, crikeys! Yeah. Oh, he went very early. Crikeys! Oh well.
Yeah, I think 5. I think it was. Yeah.
But we hardly. How many centre clearances do we have tonight? 3, 4?
I think it was 4. 4, I think it was. And I think they had 15.
15. Yeah. Ridiculous. I mean, it was still a draw. Inside.
Who comes in for Perryman, would you say?
I want to see Ryan, to be honest. I reckon this is the opportunity.
I reckon Fly is going to find a way to redraft Will Hoskin-Elliott to get him back.
No fucking way.
Don't do that to me.
Do we think DC plays next week?
You know what would be? It'd be funny is like if we somehow trolled Into the Woods And like Dermot made Michael believe that there'd been this new redraft rule and that Will Hoskin-Elliott was back in. Can you imagine
Did he?
Michael from the into the woods? Like he'd just go off, wouldn't he?
Oh God, no.
Yeah. Or we go get someone like a Jack Madgen or something like that.
Oh no!
I tell you what, Sean, I would prefer Jack Madgen than Darcy Moore any day of the week.
Yeah.
He
fucking oath.
he was a
After tonight's
battler, but
performance,
he didn't do
I
shit
actually
like that.
agree.
And
That's
who was
the
that
thing,
guy?
though,
Jack
with, like,
Frost.
Madgen, yeah,
Jack Frost.
yeah.
Would prefer Jack
Frosty.
Frost as well.
Yeah.
Frosty, that's true.
Yeah.
The old Jack Frost, crikeys.
When do you think Darcy Moore gives up the captaincy?
Henry
Never.
Shade as well. we go get Henry Shade from the Gold Coast.
Henry Shade.
Slim Shady.
Slim Shady.
They should give it up now, the captaincy.
Hey, Matt, next you'll be telling me you prefer Jason Wild than Darcy Moore.
Jason Wild used to get it. He just used to. He was the worst disposal ever.
Shocking butcher, wasn't he?
But he had a crack though. Like he
did.
He was heart and soul Collingwood. As is, I like Voidoids here. Moore would be good on the wing where he can link up, run and mark. The only thing that's missing there is he can't mark. Well, sometimes he can, and then so one game he marks, and then another game he just double fists everything. Emphasis
I couldn't
on
believe
the
he dropped that
double
mark
fist.
in the last quarter.
Yeah, I was just about to say, is this a joke about fisting?
Man, I'm so glad I didn't watch any of the post-game coverage to see Darcy Moore getting interviewed. I would have thrown the TV out the window.
Too.
I turned it off when I saw it. I went, "You're joking," and I just turned it off. I'm not watching this shit.
What a complete flog.
Yeah.
What a fucking wanker.
But, you know,
Do we think
on Facebook?
Do we think
Peter
DC
Moore-
plays next week?
Hang on.
I hope not.
On Facebook, everybody to a man was complaining about Darcy Moore.
Yeah.
And all the
Benny
So-
Zero.
Benny.
How are you, buddy?
Good evening. Hey, mate, I'm good. You guys?
Yeah,
Fantastic.
very,
Just
very.
doing the
I
best.
saw you on Anthony's channel before.
We're
You were
not
very
good.
measured.
I try to be. You know,
We-
I punched
we-
the shit out of my family before I went on the show, so I got it all out of my
You need to
system.
do
You know?
that.
A few lefts and a few
Getting the
rights.
course for the feds listening in.
Any kicks in there too, or just the hands?
Only hands, mate, and soap, you know, wrapped up in pillowcases. That's how you don't get the bruising as much.
Yeah.
soap and a footy sock goes well too.
This is
Yeah, mate.
Alexia. Alexia
Give
is
Moore
saying.
some grippo.
You seeing Alexia's comment?
Yeah.
Give Moore some
give Moore-
grippo. That's a good idea. Unfortunately, I reckon he's
Yeah.
lathering himself with lubricant on his hands, and that's why he's
Yes.
dropping the marks. So
Yeah.
That's right.
he
I
does
think
need
he's
a bit
using
of grippo. I totally 100% agree with that. Good comment. That would help.
I think he's grippoing something else. That's what I reckon. Yeah. Oh,
It was
dear.
funny.
Oh.
I invited my cousin on, who's a Hawthorn supporter, to come on for the pre-match stream, and he didn't reply to me. And I reckon he was sort of sitting back, not because he doesn't want to talk to Collingwood supporters, but he's in a pretty prominent. I won't say the company he works for, but he's pretty prominent in AFL, and I reckon he's got 15 minutes into it. And we were all launching it, like Manny was launching into how hard we're going to man up on Wizard Watson, and we're going to get right up him and all that. There's no way he's coming onto the stream. So yeah, totally understand why he didn't want. I wasn't going to. I just was wanting to come on just as the Hawthorn fan. I wasn't going to say, hey, you're the boss of this organisation or whatever. But I don't blame you for not coming on. He's gonna. Wants to keep his job. But it would have been good. He's good fun.
I got a question.
Yeah.
If when DC was injured, who could you else put in the ruck tonight? Because you could see DC couldn't do it.
In the future, we're going to have Steen will be the first ruck, and Buller will be the ruck forward. And he did that. He did that in the before he got drafted by the Swans, and he's, it's going back a few years ago. He's actually a pretty good ruckman around the ground. He's not the greatest. Like, he's kind of like DC with the taps, like not like Oscar Steen, but he's really good on the ground. He's like a ruck rover. That's why when he plays in the reserves, he gets 20 plus possessions, because he's good on the ground. Ball hits the deck, he's like a ruck rover, a bit like Brody Grundy.
Yeah, I will say this as well.
That's our future. Those two will be our two rucks going forward.
Yeah. In terms of ruck, the future ruck, Zach McCarthy can actually do a bit of ruck when he was playing a bit of champs. He was actually the third in line because he had Cooper Duff, Tyler, and Emma. So he'd basically play as like the third ruck for Vic Metro, but he'd also pop up and kick too. So he plays as a bit of a centre half forward, but but don't be surprised if he plays either a deep full forward and also ruck. Those are the three sort of positions he played. But he's like 4 years away with the way he's going. But he is tracking pretty well with his protein, and he's trying to put on some muscle at the moment.
See, this is just want to go back to Josh's comments here. He's talking about Darcy Moore. I can't believe we've never tried him as a wingman. If Darcy Moore was Long or Hawthorn, he would be on the. They would have tried him on the wing, like a Blickstav. But that's fly. It was really revealing a couple of weeks ago when against Carlton. Nick Dacos was asked by the Fox people after the game. They said, "Oh yeah, so you're playing forward? How do you like that?" And he's like, "Yeah, really like that. It was Chris Scott's idea. He really thought that could add something to the game, and it was 100% a dig at fly." He said, "Like Chris Scott had the idea."
I'll tell you something else.
Yeah,
he got interviewed on another thing, and he said he wants to play forward. It was on another thing he got interviewed on, and he said, "I want to play forward."
Yep.
So, I bet you fly doesn't listen to it.
So people who say that Dacos is 100% happy at Collingwood, he is not 100% happy at Collingwood because he is obviously. You only have to see him play football and hear him speak. To just have the emotional intelligence, you know, like he's such a good, and there's no bullshit. He doesn't say everything, like he doesn't have to, but at the same time, he's not like politician style where he'll just talk spin. So he's super smart. He's a super good footballer, but anyone who's super smart and a super good footballer, they must be. Why is Fly coaching like this? So you can't tell me that he's 100% happy at Collingwood. He might like the whole club and all the teammates, but how could you be happy with a coach like Fly, who's just so he's just on the spectrum, right? No offense to people on the spectrum, but
negative. He's negative. He's
very negative. He's very negative, and when stuff works, he won't try it again. So it's almost like, no, I'm going to save that for a rainy day. No, play Steen. It happened again tonight. Starts Cameron in the second half. Bang, bang, goal.
He actually started Cameron in the first quarter. Well, then the question I'll put to you guys is that when it comes to Nick or Fly, who do we think leaves first? Because if Tassie's coming after Nick, if that's all true,
no, they're not.
No, they're not.
I think
it's been quashed.
Oh, has it? Yeah. Okay. Well, still, the question is still there. Do we sort of see Dacos doing like a power play and actually trying to kick Fly out of the club? Like, how do we see that?
No, that will never happen.
No, because that Sean, that will make him. He might think that, or the Dacos family and a lot of fans might think that, but it'll make him look like a dick. The fans have to come together, and the question has to be asked: who do you want at the club? Nick
Yeah,
Dacos,
exactly.
who
But
should
I'm
be
saying,
here
like,
for the next 10 to
would the
15
club actually
years,
do that, though?
or Craig McCrae, who is the Brisbane agent, and he doesn't give a fuck about Collingwood. So that's my opinion. I could be wrong, but you ask any Collingwood supporter, and I reckon 90%, 95%, like keep Dacos and get rid of Fly.
Yeah, but I mean, even so, they will never do that. Never. Collingwood will never do that.
No. I'm saying it's got to be a grassroots thing. It's got to be a fans driven. Like, we need to put pressure on the club to get rid of McCrae, because McCrae could make Dacos want to leave.
Can I say something on that one? Tell me a club. Name me a club that the fans have said we've got to get rid of the coach and the club's listened to him. Never.
Oh, it happens at Carlton.
What, the Carlton moved because the fans told
with Buckley. It happened with Buckley.
Well,
everyone was pretty over Buckley by the time he got the boot.
But it wasn't the fans that pushed that agenda. It was obvious that Buckley time had come to an end.
Yeah,
probably
if the fans are happy, if the fans are happy, there's a lot less pressure on the coach.
Yeah, but the problem is that there's not one club that will listen to the fans on the basis of the coach. End of story.
But they do when the fans stop going and people stop watching. It does have an effect. It's not the be all and end all. Look at Carlton, right? They're sticking fat with Foss at the moment, but the fans, it's not the be all and end all. But you have to say it does have an effect.
I've got my doubts on that one. I don't think I'm pretty sure if the clubs go, oh yeah, well listen to the fans. The fans can direct what they tell them to do. It's exactly like this. The government's Victorian government. Yeah, we'll listen to the people of Victoria. They'll tell us what to do.
That's different though, because the government doesn't need to make money. Doesn't need to make money to stay in power. Clubs do start to go after a while when the dollars start going down. They're like, oh shit. Like at Carlton, this is why Voss is seriously under threat, because the Carlton has started to boycott this. Oh, we're not going to go now. We're not going to pay our memberships.
But that's to me, it's not the fans that are directing that. It's the club that's making the decision.
No. Of course they're not directing it, but it's a factor.
Of course, it's a factor, but it's not
That's what we're saying. I think it's a bigger factor than what you think it is.
I guarantee you, there's not one coach being sacked because of the fans. I mean, I'd like to think we have power as fans, but especially Collingwood. Fans never had power at Collingwood. Never. The only time I can remember the fans had any power was when the new Magpies came in to get rid of the board in 1982, 83. That was the only time when we kicked out the old board and put in the new board with Alan McCallister.
It didn't last long, did it?
Oh, yeah,
was that Randall McDonald?
Randall McDonald, and then Alan McCallister took over Randall McDonald.
Okay, but that was part of the same group.
The same group. Yep.
So McCallister was part of that board.
Yes, he was. Yep, he was. And that's the only time I've ever seen the fans at Collingwood stand up against the board.
Okay, so it's possible.
Well, that's the board, but it's not the coach. But it's possible. Anything's possible. But I tell you what I wanted. I don't know how long we've got tonight, but could somebody please explain the holding the ball rule to me? Because I'm fucking lost.
Yeah.
Different every time.
Also as well, what was that free kick? Was it Anderson, where Anderson went to tackle a guy with the ball and it was holding the man? How the fuck did that happen?
That's a curious.
I can explain it to you, Stu. Go grab your wallet, pull out a 20-cent piece, flip it, and that's the rule.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
when it's Collingwood and we're tails, heads finishes up 90% of the time. We get screwed with the holding. Do you know what, guys? Tonight, as annoying as it was with the result, especially in the first half, I think we got nearly every free kick that we deserved. I can't remember the last time. Like
in the second half,
Second half was a little bit different, but I was watching it with my old man. We're like, "Oh, we're actually getting these free kicks that were there." Normally, we get about 25% of frees that are actually real frees.
Yeah. Oh, look. I mean, I think I'm overall, I'm not disappointed, but I'm just pissed off with, when we could win these games and we don't because of more or less because of some stupid actions. But well, maybe we should start.
That's three. That's three. We've Freo, Adelaide, and this game. So that's cost us 10. We're 10 points adrift. We should be in the top 4.
Yeah. No, well.
So 2022-23, we won all those games.
Yep.
And it just goes to show that in those years we weren't a great side. We were an okay side, and we really got lucky in all those close games. In 2022-23, if we get 50-50 on those close games, 2022 we're not making finals, and 2023 we don't make top 4, probably don't win the flag. So it's exposing McCrae that he just, apart from, we smashed Essendon last week. They're a poor side, but we have these. We were lucky to play 1 or 2 quarters under McCrae ever, except when we play Port at the MCG every now and then, and the odd Anzac Day game. He's not a good coach. He can't get 3 good quarters out of us.
He doesn't have a plan B. He does not have a plan B, and that's the thing that drives me nuts with him. But so who does come in for Perryman? Well, McCrae will come back.
Wow.
Hey, Boomer.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Boomer.
How you doing?
What's that? Not bad. I just couldn't help but notice your discussion about boards and things. We actually had a real good look into this. We were talking about Ronald McDonald, McAllister, and that. That was back when Jeffrey Edelston tried to buy the Swans. Also, Paul Cronin, the actor. Paul Cronin, the actor, had a big stake in the Brisbane Bears. And West Coast were a rare thing. When that entity all existed, the clubs were run very much like big businesses with CEOs who get far too much money. And here's the thing, even if you went to an annual general meeting and decided to arsehole the board and vote them out, you've got to get a 66% majority, and even then the board can override it. It's actually bullshit. The board can just say, no, we're not going. That's it. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Members, don't even kid yourself. Members mean, or shareholders have got fuck all power in any big company. Now, why the AFL is unique and different is that all the clubs that existed up till then were kind of separate entities. Now, since we've brought in Freo and Adelaide and all the others, they are actually, the interstaters are all now kind of owned by the AFL. That's why they don't give a fuck that us, Richmond, Essendon and Carlton, all the cash cows are down the bottom because we don't matter anymore. It's actually, even if you think it's not in their better interest, they just kind of don't care. They don't have to care. That's why they promote the interstate game. So, sorry, guys, but don't think you got power as a member, mate. You don't. It just doesn't matter.
That's 100% true.
Yeah, it's unfair, but it's the way it is. That's why you get these dickheads who own CEOs and run it into the ground like Ansett Airlines. Bob Ansett, North Melbourne. Ansett Airlines doesn't exist anymore. His old man used to own... Yeah.
No, Bob Ansett owned Budget.
Budget, sorry.
Ansett.
Yeah, right, Budget. Okay, but that was... Yeah, you know what I mean. Sorry.
Yeah, Bob Ansett owned Budget,
Oh, but he had a big financial stay in North Melbourne. And Linfox, the truckie, he had a big financial slice in St Kilda. And who was Footscray? It was Smorgan's Meatworks. And whenever they get owned by big fucking dollars boys and Carlton with the coterie groups, whenever they own too much money, they tell the club what the club's got to do. And it's up to the football department to say, get fucked. Essendon have actually got that problem right now, as do Carlton. Because the money boys get to say, they don't let the football department do what it wants. But anyway, tonight, guys, a draw. Where are we supposed to lose that? I think getting a draw is a bonus myself, but I don't know about what you guys think.
Please.
No.
What?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't agree.
No, mate.
No.
I mean, would you rather go the distance or get knocked out? That's what I say for this one.
Yeah.
Have you guys played in draws yourselves in games?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, by local footy, yeah, absolutely.
You walk off, you're shattered, and you're thinking, if only. And your Earl comes down to every person on the field thinks, if only that fingernail play, if only I'd have just touched something or I had done whatever. The way it goes, most of us really thought they're probably going to win by 20, 30 points. You know, who knows? Not too many of us, other than the most optimistic, really would have put $100 on us to win, would we? Unless you're getting good odds. Now, the thing of it is, yeah, but the thing of it is, our premiership hopes have gone back from now, $42 last night to 26 now. So that's interesting the way the numbers crunches work it. But although you can't get the satisfaction of a draw, the fact that we had no Pendles and no Howe, and no McCrae and no whatever, like we purposely almost were arrogant. We've almost written the game off, short-term pain for long-term gain, I guess. But the fact is, we fought so hard that kicking 15-3, that is elite. I can't remember the last time we've kicked, 20% points. That's less than 20% points. So we actually kicked one of our best ever percentage of scores, 15 goals, 3, and yet they kicked 13-10. And they were 1 goal 6 at the end of the first quarter, and we were 5 straight. Fuck, guys, is that not black and white spirit? Who's fucking screw? Who's doing things? Who's refurbing their kitchen in the background? I can hear it in my headphones.
No, I'm just having a drink.
Oh, okay.
Right, I'm gonna bring this bloke from backstage. I don't know him, but let's give him a chance.
Hey, I'm Brandy. How you going? Go Pies. Can we just start with Mighty Magpies, Mighty Magpies. We'll start with that.
You don't have to yell, man. We can sort of hear, and some of us have got headphones on.
I just want to wake the neighbours. Sorry, no offence, but fuck everyone who's around me.
Well, even though you don't like Darcy Moore, Jack Gunston kicked no goals tonight. He kicked 0 goals tonight. He kicked zero goals. Let me finish. He kicked 0 goals tonight against Darcy Moore. He averages 4. So you still think Darcy's a dud?
Boom, and Darcy Moore lost us the game.
Darcy Moore also gave away 3 goals. But let's focus. Look, I did come on another stream earlier. I don't know about promoting and stuff, so I won't mention other streams, but I was on a stream earlier and I was mentioning about like the negatives, and let's bring in, what's the trade currency of more? But let's not go there. Let's focus on some positives. Yeah, I heard someone earlier say about Perryman and people not realising how important losing Perryman was. Couldn't be more accurate. He plays in one of the only defensive roles that we've got in the midfield. No one else really does it. No one else holds people accountable the way he does. No one else stands on the defensive side the way that he does. No one does it like Perryman. Be like him. Be like Mike. Be like Perryman. You know what I'm saying? There's just so much to be positive about from this game. The accuracy, shooting for goal, kicking for goal, shooting for goal, whatever you want to call it. Like the accuracy in going for goal is unheard of. I don't know, in the past decade we've been more accurate than that. 9 times out of 10, 2022, 2021, and maybe not 21, but definitely 2022, absolutely steamrolling every side with that sort of accuracy. I mean, they were the games that we were winning them by a goal, a point, a bad decision, some might say. If we have this sort of accuracy and this sort of potency, we're steamrolling every other side. Tonight, we had a couple of things go wrong. Yes, we got so many decisions that we might not normally get, but there was probably almost an equal amount of decisions that we didn't want to get paid against us, right? And I just think there's just so much positive to look at. And as supporters, we do need to get behind the club. McCrae, we do not need to say, he's a one-trick pony or he's got nothing up his sleeve. He's got everything up his sleeve. He's one of the best coaches in competition. Mark my words. Record this, all of you, for the receipts. this game tonight was a battle of the coaches, not a battle of the players. And based on a decision at the end there, which was probably interfered by a captain of Collingwood, we lost. And that's that, and we'll leave it, and we'll say, okay, Darcy Moore, you're allowed to do that. But in the grand scheme of things, I think Craig McCrae, our coach, Sam Mitchell, who whatever his name is irrelevant. We, go the Pies. Come on. Anyway, thanks for listening.
I don't want to bash this guy too bad, so just so you know, for the record, because you reckon I want to bash someone. No, you never do that. I agree with what you're saying. What about that our young'un? What's his name? I can't remember. Will Hayes. Fuck. The way he's just gliding in the right spot, kicked 2 goals. I was wrapped for that. The young guys are actually kicking ass. They were.
What a gun.
It was,
not only Will Hayes, let's talk about Parker.
Yep, Angry Anderson. Fucking
let's talk about Angry. Yes, let's talk about Angry. Let's celebrate these boys and let's get behind them.
Yeah. Yep, that's what I'm saying. That was fucking great. There was actually one.
I'm big Brendy and I'm excited. Buy my surface cleaner. I hope I make you all laugh.
Certainly bringing the vibes.
No, I'm just super good.
Brendy, well done, mate. You've
no worries. Hey, thanks for having me. I'm just a passionate life supporter like all of you, and I'm just happy to be here and I'm just having a good time.
Good on you, mate. Well, thanks for joining. Good to have you on for the first time.
Like, subscribe, have a good time.
Man, good man. Where you in Melbourne or?
Oh, Melbourne, mate. Fuck. MCC member. We won't. We will not flash that. That will have my barcode on it. But yeah, MCC member.
Thanks for the guesties, Brendy.
Yeah, well, you're welcome for the free tickets. I'll see you at the ground. See you later.
You better put a fucking collared shirt on. You won't get in with that t-shirt, man.
Oh, no, mate, you're lucky I got a shirt on at all. I'm at home.
Oh, please keep it on, would you?
Calm the Pies.
Nice.
I'll watch it on the
TV. Good. I'm not watching the replay of that. I might
watch it. There's the. There we go.
Geez, what is it with Collingwood? Like dicing with, like it's 2 weeks in a row. Not 2 weeks in a row. 2 out of 3 weeks where we've done something stupid in the last 5 seconds of the game. We got out of it against Carlton, Josh Dacos giving away that free kick, and then Darcy giving away that free kick against Hawthorn. How often? It's 2.5 minutes to go, and we're 7 points up. How do we lose that game?
Well, you want an interesting one. When Collingwood were playing North Melbourne for a grand final, we were 7 points down. And the old clock on the board, you didn't know when the game was going to end because timeout was just added without telling us.
On.
So, time on. The clock just went round and no one knew. And what happened? We were 7 points down. It went down. We got 1 point, just like they did. And then there was that amazing mark in the goal square that was just piles of players, and it got up and Twiggy done had it, kicked a goal, it got us the draw. But then the replay, we lost. But, I mean, similar thing to that, like we were 7 points down and should never have got away with the draw on that one. So what goes around comes around.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Stu didn't jump up with that one.
What's that? What was that, Boomer?
Oh, the drawn grand final in '77 was the opposite to tonight. It was a point, then a goal at the end to get us up to the draw. Yeah. So we should have lost that game technically, but we got a draw out of it. So it was the opposite result, kind of thing.
I'm not angry. Well, I'm not angry about. I'm not angry, worried about the draw. It's just how it came about. That's all. It's the same old story that I've been saying for the last 3 years, as Matt said before about Darcy. But there's a couple other players that might need, kick up the arse. Lipinski definitely was one of those. Oh,
Well, let's see. He got 19 tonight, so I don't know if
yeah, but
19 possessions.
But talk to me about his 19 possessions. Well, talk to me how many times he shirked the issue. Talk to me how many times he pulled out of contests. Talk to me about that.
I've got a guy. I've got a guy trying to come on AA 189. Anyone know who this is?
No.
No, he's dropped out. Oh no, he's back in. Hey, AA 189. Can you just you're backstage? You can keep your camera hidden, but you want to just come on. Just turn your camera on before I bring you on, so I know you're not.
Watch the Hawthorn supporters. They might be fucking.
Yeah. Because I don't know you, mate.
Watch the Hawk supporters. Fucking Hawthorn drew the game, and they were carrying on like fucking God knows what. I was there. Fucking idiots.
Yeah.
They drew the game. Yeah. Fucking a real fucking kick up the backside to us. We fucking should have fucking won that game. And then we got them laughing at us at the end for a fucking draw.
Also,
got to
as
walk
well,
out with them smiling.
Yeah.
No,
Also, as well, I found with a lot of the Hawthorn goals, a lot of their goals came off like the mistakes from like our turnovers and just poor execution.
Yeah.
Also as well, because in terms of the disposal efficiency, I checked the AFL app, and I mean I won't know the exact stats and stuff, but just from the eye and watching previous games and stuff, like I feel like even Nick went at like 55% efficiency, and I'm not gonna like sit here and like berate Nick for just his disposal efficiency because he's just a gun. Like he can have one-off game here and there, but like that was probably like another thing too where. I think Josh had about 90+% and I think Geordie's was up as well. So we did have a few guys that were kicking well, but overall as a team, I just remember looking at like everyone's numbers and go, "Oh, that's a bit low. Oh, that's a bit low." So yeah, I think a lot of the execution by hand and foot was probably not to what we expected. But then it's also strange because every time we actually went forward, we also converted goals. Like we keep off 15 goals 3 today, which is like absolutely insane. And we normally don't score, especially kicking 100 points, and we got 93 if 15-3 is the correct score. So so there are some positives that I take out of it, but at the same time, it's like there are also a lot of issues to be discussed as well because. When you're a top 4 side, like, you're going to have some, good things going your way, but just because you have a handful of good things, when you're top 4, like the majority of the things that you should be doing should be good, So it's like, if we got some good things here, bad things there, that just means that we're just an average side. We don't want to be average. We want to be somewhere in the top 4 competing for flags every year. So, there needs to be, the good needs to outweigh the bad. So even if there is like say 10 things, if you have 5 good, 5 bad, well, that just means we're just going to be like, in the middle of the table around 9th or 10th, and we'll probably be in like what's the wild card round? Yeah, the wild card round. And like that type of team. I don't want to be that type of team. I want to be winning flags and being a top 4 side. So and again, even if we are criticizing the club, we're not, obviously doing it out of hate or anything. Like we say this because we love the club, and it's, if anything, it's tough love. So just wanted to like address that. But even with like the efficiency, I thought that was a bit down tonight, just like across the board. But I think Geordie and Josh were a good standout. But there were definitely some that were a bit down.
See, I want to address something. I want to address Josh's comment here. We're in danger of sounding very Carlton-like at the moment. We are better than this. No. So, see, we as Collingwood supporters, we need to stop accepting that a draw when we should have won is fucking good enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So Carlton have been a long way down for 30 years. But you'll talk to them. I respect them more than most Collingwood supporters because it's not good enough. They know it's not good enough, and as Collingwood supporters, Darcy Moore just fluffing the game at the end, it's not fucking good enough. So I don't want to hear people saying, "Oh, but we should be proud of what we've done." We are in the game. We are in this competition to win games, and when we fucking blow a 4 points like we did tonight, we're going to say that is not fucking good enough. Okay, I'm not having a go at individual players because a lot were really good tonight. But we can't accept that. We can't accept that. We can't accept missing finals in 2024. We can't accept Fly's fuck-ups at selection at the preliminary final last year. We can't accept Darcy Cameron getting the first 5 taps in the second half of last year and handing Brisbane the ascendancy when we had Cox there. So, no, we're going to be negative, okay, because we should have won tonight.
Yeah. Also back on Nick in terms of his disposal. So he got 34 disposals tonight. In terms of those numbers, yeah, that's great. 34 is a great number for Nick to get, but he went at 50% efficiency. Like in a normal game for Dacos, his pass mark is at least 80, and we normally probably expect 85 plus. So the fact that he's getting 50% in terms of his disposal efficiency, that's pretty concerning. And yeah, we can put it down to an off night because we know he gets his numbers every week and he normally is pretty efficient. But it's just one of those things where, yeah, he can have the bad game, but it's like if he has a bad game, we kind of need to call it out because, yeah, like I don't want to, be, like a person that's always ultra positive, no matter
Here's the thing. If you want to hear that everything is rainbows and sunshine, just go to the Collingwood social media. Just listen to Fly's press conferences. Just listen to 90% of Collingwood supporters on social media. That you can do that. But we will give praise and we'll give credit when it's due. But when we see blatant, ridiculous decisions that lose us games and cost us finals and cost us premierships, we're saying, no, that's not good enough. So, there's 26 people, and I appreciate everyone that's tuned in. And but we're going to just call it as we see. Don't have to agree with us, but we just want to, when we have a situation, see, in 2022 and 23, we're winning those games. Now we don't win those games. We lose close games. So it could cost us a premiership. So we're going to call it out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I think it was you, Matty, that even said the other week that one of the examples was, if you had a family member that was, say, dating somebody and you could tell that family member, maybe they may not be switched on for whichever reason, but you can tell the person that's trying to be their partner, you can tell they're not like sort of the right match. So you sort of like, at the end of the day, you're not going to sit there and go, oh, well, I guess at the end of the day, like, the love is there, blah, blah, all this stuff. Because there's obviously like context and all that stuff, but if you're seeing like, the partner that your family member is trying to be with, like if the partner's like sort of like, not doing their thing or not holding up their end of the bargain sort of thing, you sort of want to look after your family member and you want to like help them out, you know what I mean? So that's basically how I guess we would treat the club, is that we're not coming from any levels of hate or, we're not trying to like divide anybody. If anything, we're trying to do the opposite. We're trying to love and we're trying to bring people together. But that at the end of the day, sometimes that also needs to be a bit of, tough love. It needs to, there's like context with certain things, because on one hand we can say, hey, these things are bad, but then there's also other areas where we'll go, okay, well, no, we'll actually give credit here because in this scenario, this situation, what happened here was actually really good. So, it doesn't necessarily mean that we, hate all the time, but there will be things where, maybe the people that are super positive, the one thing they don't like, we can come in and say, hey, no, the thing that you don't like, you actually need to like it because of these reasons.
I'll ask you guys a question. Everyone else who thinks we're too negative. If Joel Cochran played tonight instead of Darcy Moore, would he have cost Collingwood 3 goals?
No,
Well,
no way.
We don't know. That's
We don't
basically
know,
that's.
but that would
That's
be
a
pretty
hypothetical.
extreme. That'd be pretty extreme to think a guy, a new bloke, could come in and have such a diabolical game.
Yeah.
When we
It's
haven't
also
seen
as well,
any
too,
signs in the
yeah.
VFL, haven't seen any signs in the VFL of Cochrane being, you know, the type of guy who will just shit himself and just make really poor decisions.
Yeah.
He doesn't dominate games, but as a key back, he seems to be pretty solid. Like, goes when he should, takes a mark, intercept mark, spoils when he should. I mean, Darcy Moore in the first 5 minutes of the game is spoiling into the corridor.
Yeah.
That's under 13 stuff. Don't do that.
Manny, I thought I was watching.
Don't tap it to Nick Watson in the corridor. What are you doing?
Yeah, can we roll? Can we roll
Set the
back on that?
tone.
Because I mean, if you go back to say the actual grand final game, when Nick got the ball to DeGoey, right, which kicked that goal that sealed it for us, whoever the Brisbane defender was, it wasn't Harris Andrews, but it was their second guy. He punched it away from Myercheck, thinking, "Great play! I'll just kick the ball away from Myercheck."
Yeah, dangerous,
straight to
wasn't
Nick Dacos, straight to Nick Dacos, who handballs to DeGoey, who puts the goal back over his head. You'd want to hide, but on the MCG, mate, there is no bit of blade of grass big enough to hide. You would feel shit. Now, look, what I've got to say is, what that guy's point is, we sound very Carlton-like, is, yeah, he's right. Because I hear on the jumper punch and all that, all they ever do is well, with all due respect to them, they sound like a bunch of whiny little bitches at the Mothers Club saying what's wrong with it.
The Carlton supporters.
The Carlton supporters do. Now, Darcy Moore tonight, I agree he doesn't. Hey? What?
Carlton, you mean like the jumper punch guys?
Yeah, they really do.
What, do you disagree with them?
I don't, but they really have to constantly reinforce it. But can I say with Darcy Moore?
Do you blame them? Do you blame them?
I think Carlton deserves it.
Well, that's
No,
not the point,
you shouldn't be
but if you're
making
a
any
Carlton-
excuses
if
for
you're a
that
Carlton
mob.
supporter,
They deserve it. And
that's
I'm
not the point.
freaking
That's not the point, though, Daz. We're not talking about whether.
I realise
so-
that. I'm not talking about Carlton. Why are we talking about Carlton? I don't want to talk about that.
Boomer raised it. Boomer says.
Yeah, I know,
I raised that they sound like whiny little bitches because someone else said we sound very Carlton-like.
Okay, so
And
let's
that's
talk
what
about.
But we don't want to get like that
Collingwood supporters.
as a club.
Exactly. We don't want to, and this is what I'm trying to say. Now, just this, Darcy Moore was hopeless. He cost us a game. True, he did. However, Jack Gunston kicked 0 goals. And who is he playing on? So, if the guy you're playing on, who averages 4 a week, kicks no goals, have you beaten him? And is that a good game?
It doesn't matter if the guy is playing on.
You look at the whole. You
cancel
look at
that
his
out.
whole performance, Boomer. His whole performance, not just one element of his game.
Oh,
His
no,
whole
hang on.
performance.
I'm getting to it, but I'm just walking you through it in case you didn't realise that. Jack Gunston kicked no goals. Who was playing on him? Darcy Moore.
The guy who
Now,
the guy
most of
played
He
on
gave
who
up
lost
4
the
goals.
game.
Elsewhere.
Lost the
3.
game,
3.
Boomer.
3. And look, I agree.
He gave up 4. Boomer, I watched it. I was there. He gave up 4 goals. He made 4 absolute shockers, resulted in goals to Hawthorn. 4. He was part of the play where he was just not accountable, or he had a brain fade, or he just poor decision making. 4. That's cost us 4 goals.
Okay, I've
Now, it
seen
wasn't
that.
Gunston,
Okay.
but it still
I've-
results in the opposition kicking goals against us. Now,
I've
you
seen-
can make
yes,
an
he-
excuse about Darcy saying he's beaten his man because it looks good on paper because Gunston has got a clean sheet, hasn't kicked a goal. Fair enough. I'll give him credit for that. I will. But the fact is, he's better than that. He's got to be better with the rest of the game in regards to what's around him. There's also the fact that because we didn't have Jeremy Howe there, he's the next best and biggest tool. So he had to play another role as well. And he just doesn't do it. And I was just going to say before, remember last year we're all getting into Charlie Dean?
Yep.
Oh, I wasn't, but I do remember.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He was making those same cock-ups like Darcy. Now, you can expect maybe a Charlie Dean doing it, but I do not expect our captain to be doing it.
Correct. Okay. Yep. Now, all right. Can I just sort of get back onto it? So when you look at someone's game overall, the fact that Gunston, their prime goal kicker, wasn't doing too well, and Bears, like you said, him going off actually got Wizard off because Wizard we had kept down, and that was amazing. They then managed to kick goals by guys coming in from the side, doing like intercept marks. Who was a couple of their tools started kicking most of their goals from. They got them in the game, but they only did kick 1 goal 7, so they were very inaccurate because of their reliance on Wizard and Gunston. But overall, had Howe been there, look, Darcy Moore, I'll agree, he's lost his footy brain since Nathan Murphy hasn't played. He doesn't have a good football brain.
And that's it. He's hardly done. He's done a quarter of the pre-season, and I reckon that is part of what we saw last night in regards. He just looked totally, completely rusty, and his mind and his body and his faculties in regards to doing and making the right decision making, all of that. He's just lost. He's lost, and that's why it was a real risk playing him. I'm not saying don't play him. But this is what we see from Darcy too often. We've seen too much of this. I will give him this is part of the selection process again, that they thought he was going to be right, and he probably was in because Howe was out. Let's face it, he was in because Howe was out. There we go. That was what was going to happen. But I'm telling you, I'm just frustrated sitting there last night and watching Darcy with these cock-ups.
Yeah.
It's got to be better than that. Everyone has to be better when they drift to that lower level, and he was a liability. It was unfortunate. It's just so bad that you have your captain making those types of errors.
Yeah, and also
terrible.
Agreed there.
The major problem, I'll try cutting in because I've been listening to everyone else last half an hour. The major problem is that you're the captain. You've got to be the on-field leader. And he was not showing that. And when he plays like that, he doesn't showing that. And the chins drop. The chins drop. If your captain's going to be playing lackluster, shitful, non-thinking football, then the rest of your teammates will go. Will go in that same direction. He is not a leader's arsehole. He's not a captain's arsehole. And time for him to go. You're the weakest link.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely, he's the wrong captain at the wrong time too.
He's the worst player.
Need a leader, a real leader
in the side.
We need Nick Dacos.
He's our worst footballer.
Well,
you can't have the captain being your worst player. You just cannot.
We've got him for the rest of the year. Imagine if it happens a second, third, fourth time. It could happen a second, third, or fourth time. But we've now made our bed. We've got to now lie in it because we weren't tough enough to have a conversation with him at the end of last season.
Yeah, right. Okay, agreed with that one. But what I do here is people just saying he's got to go. Like people are talking trading him off now. I just doubt that's going to happen. That's Furphy.
That is Furphy because no one would want Boomer.
No,
what club?
No one would want him.
He's not going anywhere. We're stuck with him.
Yeah,
but he shouldn't be captain next year.
We're not trading him because he is the public relations manager of he's the vice president of public relations of the club under Fly.
He's also Players Association president.
Yep.
Mr. Knight guy.
He's the face of the club. Yep. It doesn't matter how shit he is. He's always going to get a game. And on the other side, if we were wanting to trade him, he wouldn't get a game for any other club. He's just not a good footballer anymore. He's terrible.
I agree. He's actually. Remember when he chased down Ollie Henry?
He plays one good game in 10 games.
Remember that chase down of Ollie Henry that was really loud? Ended up in a goal. He actually turned it over to Gary Rowan, and it came back over his head for a goal. But we forget that. Since then, he appears to have injured himself, and he's lost a yard of pace for sure. Because he got up and chased down Henry to get that. He was fucking fast. He had a really good second gear, I used to call it. First gear, second gear. He used to really power on. He has lost a yard of pace, and he comes in at the side. When Murphy was down doing the traditional full back around the 25-metre mark, he was up around the 50-metre mark, and he didn't panic as much. Now it's closer to goal. He's playing closer to goal. He panics more. And he also I've seen him mark the ball and run off, and because there's no one ahead of him, he passes off to the side. He doesn't know how to do a Gary Ayres, Justin Leppy style.
You're agreeing with us now, Boomer. You were defending him 5 minutes ago.
I'm not
how
defending.
Well to keep that,
I'm just wondering what you've got to get rid of him means. because you're all saying he's got to go.
He shouldn't be on the side. He shouldn't be on the list.
As captain.
No, we're saying maybe he should retire. He should retire.
Yeah, should retire, not be captain, not in the side, whatever.
Yeah.
All three.
Well, I think we're a better team without him. With the times he hasn't played, we haven't really missed him that much in the last probably 6 months, I guess. I would say. We
went from our key thing. We've been deplorable in games, but the one thing we could hang our hat on is our defense. Our defense was sound. You know, we kicked 30 points or something ridiculous against Freo, but at least our defense was sound. It goes down there, well-oiled unit. We throw Darcy Moore down there, and it costs us the game. Pure and simple. Darcy Moore doesn't play. Jeremy Howe plays. We win by 4 goals. It's that simple. It's that
probably a couple of goals. There's probably a couple of goals that may not have happened, but I need more experience. But here's a really interesting one. When Lou Richards wanted to be captain, you've got to be nominated and seconded for captain, or you nominate yourself and someone's got to second the move. Now, when Lou Richards wanted to be, you ready for this? He said, okay, I want to be captain. Can anyone second it? No one at the club seconded him. None of the players did, because he said to his brother, don't you do it because it will look bad. And no one else actually wanted him as captain. And Ron Richards had to say, I second that notion. So they didn't want him as captain in 53. I think that was. Is that right, Stu? 53?
No. It was before that. It was before that.
Okay. Business here.
It was before that, and then he learned. Then he earned the trust of the players. But the players don't decide who the captain is. Boomer. That's a long time ago, mate.
Oh, I know, but what I'm saying is they didn't want him. So doesn't that say a lot about him? He was a great rover or whatever, but he was even a big mouth fucking arsehole back then. Obviously, they saw something.
Tell you what,
this
year,
what
Ben Zero is saying. What Ben Zero is saying here, and I've heard this: the Pies players voted him as captain, unless that process is compromised. Maybe in 2023, but if they are voting every year, there's absolutely no way in the world that any player in that side is voting him captain this year, last year, or 2024. Maybe 2020. Okay, he's won the premiership, but in the last 2 years, no way. Because
not even Nick Dacos.
I don't think most of them want him in the side, or at least not in the back line. How could you vote for him? Like Stu said, worst captain ever in Collingwood that I can remember in Collingwood. And could you imagine a worse captain in league history? What a shit example he leads as a leader. He's just not a leader, and he's a fuck up.
Hang on, can I just go back? Worst captain in league history? Can you just, if you want to define that, do you mean talented player who was a shit captain, or do you mean just bad record as his captaincy?
No, here's two things. You're either a good footballer, a brilliant footballer, or an okay footballer, but you lead by example.
Lead by example. Like Nick
you've got this two. I'll give you 2 different examples: Nick Maxwell and Nathan Buckley, both great captains. Nathan Buckley, extremely talented and a brilliant footballer. Nick Maxwell, a battler, but they were. You'd almost say that Nick Maxwell was almost a better captain. So there's your 2 extremes of and everyone in between: Tony Shaw, Gavin Brown, Mark Williams, Scott Burns, Nick Maxwell. These are captains. Bruzzy is captain tomorrow. He'd be a great Collingwood captain. Darcy Moore is not a captain's arsehole. He's awful.
You could also name Ray Shaw and Peter Moore in that lot too. They were both excellent captains for our club as well. But we see a captain's got to have certain things outside the game itself. Like what you do at the club.
No, they don't. They don't.
They don't.
That's bullshit, Boomer.
That's not bullshit, dude. That is what you're saying. You're going.
Why did? Okay, tell me. Okay, all right. Sorry, mate. Tell me why they need to have. Something outside.
I'll give you an example. You've just been given the captaincy at Collingwood, and you get a telephone call saying one of your new young players has just been filmed snorting cocaine in a toilet in Torquay, and you have got to front the media. No, that's what I'm saying. So how does that?
You don't think Braden Maynard
captain doesn't?
Captain doesn't front the media. It's a scene.
You know who I'm talking about, don't you? Yeah, I'm talking about Jack Ginnivan getting sprung, snorting coke in a Torquay dunny.
What has that got to do with Darcy Moore?
what I just said.
Yeah.
He just took over his captaincy and he had to ring up Pennells to say, what the fuck do I do? What's our stand on this? So the captain does work outside the field of play. He's not just the captain on the field. There's a lot more bullshit.
Right.
This is why Pennells didn't want to do it.
What percentage?
No,
what
that's not
percentage
true.
on the field
That's
when
not
you're
true.
trying to win the premiership and you're trying to win a game? What percentage of media training does that have to do with winning a game like tonight? What percentage?
So now you're just conflating it. You just told me that a captain doesn't.
Shit, Boomer. You're just trying to.
No,
you're
I'm
just
not.
trying to make excuses for Darcy Moore.
No, that's not true. So now you're just jumping to a
Really?
conclusion and now you're making it personal, dude. And I really don't appreciate you doing that, okay? You're telling me I'm talking shit, but you're not even letting me finish getting my point across. So how the fuck can I get my point across if you're just going to keep interjecting and saying I'm talking shit?
Well, I asked you how important is it to be a good media personality. So I gave you a chance to answer. You didn't answer it.
Being a captain is not just playing on the field and playing good footy, although that's an important part of it.
That's true.
You've got to do a lot of
That's
other
true.
things. Well, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Nothing wrong with that.
If there's a crisis at the club, what does a captain have to do? What is his responsibility?
Nick.
They unify the team. You got to keep the team unified.
Okay.
So Nick can do that off the field. Darcy's not the only one that can actually do that. You're actually having a crack at Bruzzy or Nick, saying that they're not going to be good enough to do that off the field. They would be more than capable. They're very good in the media.
Hang on. I didn't say that.
Well, you're making an excuse. You're saying that Darcy's...
I did not say they can't do it.
You're a
For fuck's
cheerleader for
sake.
Darcy Moore.
For fuck's sake, no,
Guys,
don't fucking make up shit
turn it
about me. Okay, I didn't say that at all, Dad.
Defending Darcy Moore.
Apology incoming or what? Did I say Bruz and Nick can't do it? Did I say Bruz and Nick can't do it?
You're saying that Darcy can. I'm just speaking up for Nick and Bruzzy.
Just relax. We're
Because they're our next two leaders that can captain.
Sorry, I'm still waiting for the answer. Did I say they can't do it?
I didn't say you couldn't. I'm just sticking up for Nick and Bruzzy, saying that they are more than capable of doing what Darcy is doing.
You can't answer this, can you? Did I say they can't do it?
No,
Right,
I said that you didn't say that.
You're
I'm giving you the answer right there.
Right.
Listen, hang on. We're getting our knickers in a knot about Darcy Moore. This is ridiculous. Okay?
He got touched up by Voss last week. Is that okay? Like last year, Voss touched him up. I agree with that. He kicked 4 goals on him. And I remember Voss kicked 4 goals on him or something like that. I've seen he hasn't got a footy
Charlie Dean, wasn't it?
He gets touched up 4 out of 5 games.
It was more.
All right.
He does get touched up. He doesn't have a footy brain, I agree. But you can't just throw him out of the captaincy. We don't do that at Collingwood.
We don't?
What?
You sure about that?
Yeah,
Just ask him to be a bit better.
Really?
Who have we done it to? Who have we done it to?
Well, we've never had a shit captain. Hey, Boomer, we've never had a shit captain like this before. He's a disgrace as a captain. So it's unprecedented.
One of the worst captains.
Can you name someone who's been a shit captain at Collingwood before?
Oh, well,
I'd say poor captain. I won't say shit captain. Poor. Very poor.
Poor.
Last night was poor.
Well, not at Collingwood, I can't, because we've always had players captains that I've liked.
Yeah, we've always had people who deserve
that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But Darcy's not one of those guys. He's just not one of those guys, Boomer. That's what we've been trying to say.
Well, actually, no. People are saying he's got to go. That's what I'm trying to get out of you. Go in what way?
As a captain, yeah, he's got to go as captain.
Yeah, as captain.
Retire, Boomer.
Captain player. He's not good enough to be
as captain. He's got to go.
He's not good enough to be captain. So that's why we want him gone.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's got to go from the team. He's got to go as captain.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry, because
that's what I did last year.
It might take the pressure off him. There's too much pressure on him. He can just go and play.
I think you're right.
I
think you're right, Stewie.
And that's always saying. I think you misconstrued what we're all saying. But yeah, no, that's all we're saying, Boomer. But Darcy's been like this for the last 2 to 3 years.
I didn't misconstrue what was being said about him. It's just that nothing directly was said about him. He's got to go as captain. I've just been hearing he's got to go. And that the as captain was added on.
Well, I'll tell you, Boomer. I think he needs to go back to the seconds. I think he needs to get some form in the seconds. I think he needs to go out of the back line altogether because he's a liability, and I don't think he should be captain. And we need to start offloading our 30-plus players. So I think he should be offloaded at the end of the year. So there's 4 ways that I think I want him gone. How about that? That's what I'm saying.
A fair point. Yeah, I can't actually agree with that directly.
Now, if he was to go back to the seconds and he starts doing well as a defender and he starts taking intercept marks, or he plays somewhere different, like on the wing or in forward, and he's not the captain, then he comes back and he earns his place like everyone else. That'd be a great result.
That'd be a great result for everybody. That'd be 100%.
But he won't do it.
As this clown, Luke, go back to the seconds. Biggest load of shit. Yeah, it's probably a load of shit because the club will never do that. They treat people in different ways. They won't do that. Yeah, you're right.
They won't.
So
can we even do a thing with like Darcy if we can actually even throw him up forward? Because I've been on that bandwagon for years, and the fact that we haven't.
Yeah, greatness. He did play up forward. And he was a dud.
Under fly, no.
And who?
The only time he went up forward was Brisbane.
Who do you kick out of the forward line? Who do you kick out of the forward line?
Hang on. When he first came,
under fly, at what point
he played in the forward line, could hardly kick a goal.
Under
no, but under Buckley, he was talking about as a forward.
No, I'm talking about under fly. Like fly hasn't tried him as a forward.
He's a
makeshift been all Australian back.
That's all.
He was a makeshift
forward. I get what Sean's saying. He's saying maybe we should go back to the forward line.
Yeah,
like it what he was when he first started.
In the under 18,
at whose expense? Chris, at whose expense? Who goes out for Darcy? Up forward.
Well,
give me an answer.
It's between.
Well, no, they're not going to drop McStay. You're going to drop Buller. Oh, okay. So we get Buller in, play him for 2 games, and he goes just to keep Darcy back in the team.
If you want Darcy back, that's the only way.
Well,
I'll tell you what. This is why the selection integrity is rock bottom. I don't think anyone knows what's happening,
guys. Hey, Daz, along with this theme, this is this Luke bloke. It's like saying Sidey and Pendles go back to the seconds. You just don't do that. Okay, this is the problem with our club. Now, Pendles is not going to go back to the seconds because he performs 95% of the time, 99 times out of 100 plays a great game. Sidey, on the other hand, he's starting to play in patches. So why can't Sidey go back to the seconds and get a bit of form? And wouldn't that be great for the young players in the seconds to be playing side by side with Sidey? So to say that Moore or Sidey or even Pendles, if he was in a form slump, can't go back to the seconds, that's why our selection integrity is just bullshit. Senior players sometimes have to play seconds.
Hey, Matt,
if they're out of
form. Something to Luke?
Yeah.
Hey, Matt, I'll say something to Luke. Luke, have you ever heard of hypotheticals? We're not the selection panel, mate. We're not the ones deciding who goes. We're just saying what our opinion is. The club won't do that, mate. So we're just having our thought on it, mate. We're just having
and Darcy Moore won't do it. He does it. He'll say, "I'm captain. I'm not fucking doing that shit."
And that's a very good point, Stu. Is Luke saying they won't do that because that's right, Fly won't do that, or is he saying you can't do that? So I'm not sure. It's actually.
I think he's saying you can't.
Luke's saying
Darcy Moore
can't do that because that's Darcy Moore. You can't play in the seconds.
No,
he's above that. Darcy Moore is above playing VFL.
Untouchable.
That's right.
Above playing.
That's right. Bullshit. That's who he is.
He's an untouchable.
Yeah.
I put it in the chat, and Sean and I say it a lot. The VFL is not a punishment. It is a top-level training time.
That's right. Yeah.
It's to get better.
It's not a punishment. 100%, Benny. 100%. I don't know what people is. Half the people who
work on your deficiencies.
don't watch them. Hang on. Half the people I was just going to say, half the people that slag off the VFL don't watch the VFL. They couldn't tell you who was playing well or not. So some of these people are going, oh, we've got to bring Cochrane in. He's not ready yet. He's just not ready. He's going to be. He's only 19. He's going to be. He's potentially going to be okay. But he hasn't filled into his own body yet. And if you throw him into the big league right now, you can burn the kid. So just I don't know why. So mainly it's the people who don't watch the VFL that can't see what's going on. So if you are invested and you want to know who's coming up through the VFL, watch the fucking VFL. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but in terms of the output that Moore had, I would actually think that Cochrane would have, like in terms of the ups, like Cochrane wouldn't have had many ups. But in terms of the mistakes, I don't think he would have made as many mistakes as what Moore would have made. So if we in the conversation of hindsight, and if we're going to back in the player, if I knew that Moore was going to play like this, then I would back in Cochrane to have a better performance. Obviously, we don't know.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
That was my point
obviously, in saying that
more
we don't know,
Moore and not Cochrane.
But in terms of
fair enough.
You could have had a good game too.
Yeah, but in terms of hindsight, knowing okay, that's the standard that Moore was at, I would. I don't know if I want to say, I'd put $10 on, or I'll put the bet on Cochrane having a better game. We're not going to know. But I'm saying from my point of view that I would back in the fact that Cochrane would have a better game, or possibly not even a better game, but like I know the mistakes that Moore made, he wouldn't have made mistakes like that. So that's basically where my sort of thinking is, and not saying that. And mind you, I really rate Cochrane. I think he is our what's his name? Our Nathan Murphy replacement. The only issue is that, he is 19 and he's still building into his body. But once he is ready, that is our Nathan Murphy replacement. And then
we'll wait and see.
What about Reef? What's happened to Reef, guys? Because he had a relapse.
ACL. Yeah,
ACL.
So what? Another year?
Or
what?
Yep.
12 months.
Yep. Poor bastard. Same knee or the other one?
I'm not sure, but he got injured halfway through.
No, it's the other knee.
It's the other knee.
Another 12 months.
Fuck. Oh, God. You got to feel sorry for the poor bastard, don't you?
It
Wow.
was halfway through the first quarter, so he barely got through the whole game, and it was really sad too, because he looked really comfortable the week before, to the point where even to me, I was saying, damn, this is like the first game where he looked like super comfortable, where it's like if he had played AFL that week, like he wouldn't. I felt like he would have stood up. So the fact that he played the next week in the VFL and did his ACL, it just sort of sucks. Because even Harrison's looking really good now, because Harrison had a bit of a bad run with injuries. But he's had, I think, 2 weeks now. I think he was best on ground against the Carlton VFL game too. And then last week he was if he wasn't best on ground, he wouldn't have been far off it. So I wouldn't be surprised if he backs it up again with 3 good games. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the conversation for next week or at some point down the line.
Just another one. What about Kevin? Kevin, guys, I heard today he's in hospital. What's wrong with him? What happened to Kevin?
Don't know. He's bleeding somewhere.
Oh, okay.
We spoke to him on the stream, and he didn't explain it in depth, but by the looks of it, it was under control by the end of the day, and they were just doing some observations of him, probably overnight, to be honest, and then they'll let him out. But he didn't really elaborate on the details, but he seemed to be in good spirits at least as well.
Oh, that's good.
In terms of going to the game or something, what was the situation?
Nah, it kind of just happened to him, he said. Yeah. They called an ambulance. He was just bleeding and wouldn't stop.
So I was at the footy, or was it just randomly
on air last night? No.
This morning.
The deviated septum procedure, so maybe it's remnants of that.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Does anyone?
Yeah, it's pretty.
Know about the VFL? Who are we playing in? Is it and when is it?
It's tomorrow. We're
Who
playing
cares?
Box
We're
Hill.
going to beat them.
Box Hill. Hang on. We're playing Box Hill Hawks 7:20 tomorrow night, and it'll be on the AFL app. We're playing.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking of going because it's only 20 minutes away from me. Actually,
Tomorrow night.
Yeah, we're playing.
Okay.
We're playing at Dingley.
What time is it tomorrow?
We played down in the hood.
7:20.
Okay. And
Is anyone doing a watch along?
Nah.
Oh, depending on work, I might go down there and I might just give them a whole lot of shit for playing at Dingley, Hawthorn. Sorry, I didn't even realise I was live. I've got a lot to say. Look, Moore's been a fantastic captain.
okay.
But there is a lot to do with Moore getting, being the captain still and getting the captaincy that has got to do with ticking boxes, in my opinion. Is Nick ready to be the captain? Absolutely not. Nick's probably, he could maybe do it next year, but the year after, absolutely. Bruz is your man right now. So since the premiership, Bruz probably should have been the captain. If you don't know, Bruz is Braden Maynard. Should have been the Collingwood captain, and he is the man. He's highly respected by every player. He is easily one of our top, if not our best on ground tonight. He's got to be up there, right? He was in everything.
He was awesome tonight.
He was awesome. I was talking about when I was on here earlier, I was talking about, let's celebrate all these guys. Bruz was awesome. How good was Bruz? Let's celebrate these guys, but Bruz brings everyone else into the game, and Bruz thinks. He's awesome. Don't get me wrong. Bruz, we won't talk about what I was going to say. There's just so much to celebrate. Ginnivan not being in the club, I don't even know if I can say half the things I want to say about that, because I know his uncle and I know his dad. But let me say this: good riddance. No different to Sam Murray. No difference to Jaden Stevenson. No difference to Adam Treloar. See you later, boys. Don't want you in our club. You are fucking trouble. That is a bombshell. If anyone from the fucking Herald Sun sees this, have a field day. But yes, you are the trouble, and that is why you are gone. And we will take a loss for you, a la Adam Treloar. There's a reason. Mate, there's a lot to celebrate from tonight, but there's a lot to not celebrate. We weren't meant to win coming into the game. We're dropping 4 very important players, number 1 being Jeremy Howe, and we still drew. Look, don't get me wrong, I'm upset because we had that in our fucking, excuse my language, but we did have that in our midst. We could have taken that game and we could have won it if we killed the ball. Keep playing that rodeo ball, as they like to call it, right? Jump on top of it like it's a bull and ride that motherfucker. But anyway, I don't know. But Darcy Moore, I think he's got more to give to the club by leaving the club than he's got in staying at the club.
Right.
What do people think about that?
Well, no one thinks anything. No.
Sorry, I know I went on a bit of a rant and TED talk there.
We all still think, okay, let's go on to your Treloar. We fucked that up because we fucked up the salary cap with Eddie Maguire and the boys. We lost Steve-O because of the salary cap and Phillips as well. Brody Grundy.
No.
Incorrect.
What?
Incorrect.
What?
Incorrect. Incorrect.
What?
Incorrect.
What?
Incorrect. I will
What,
tell
Dave?
you. I will tell you, there was a big drug problem. There is a enormous drug problem within the AFL. I'm throwing myself out here saying this myself, but like there's a massive drug problem, and they were getting rid of the people that were really fostering that drug problem. And Adam Treloar, I have seen him out socially at not just. I've seen him at restaurants and I've seen him at other social events through mutual friends. Careful. And I'll say this: he is a family man, and he is a good father, and he is not on the path that he was on.
Just careful what you say. Remember, you're on YouTube. Sure.
Yeah, I realise that, and my nickname's on it, and it's pretty fucking well known. So,
no, but it's not your channel. It's Matt's channel.
Yeah, okay. I apologise, so I won't do that. But yeah, there's a lot more to a lot of things than you realise. There's a lot to do with synergy, and there's a lot to do with unrest. Like when someone goes and says, "Oh, it's because someone took a photo of someone's missus," the rumours you hear. Someone took a photo of someone's missus over a cubicle or in a room at a club function with someone else's partner. Some of that's true, some of it's not true, but it's somewhere in between. And the trouble's gone. The trouble's gone, but a lot of this moving forward, we don't need. Like a lot of it happened when Darcy Moore was there, and Darcy Moore's there as the captain, just like ticking a box. He's not there as a captain, going, "No, that's not my club." Not punching forward for the members, not punching forward for the supporters.
Well, basically, you've come in, you slagged off players saying they were junkies with absolutely no fucking evidence. You've done it publicly on YouTube. Hang on. Let me hear me out. And basically, you've done it on YouTube, which is a public forum, and it's on the internet forever. And it could get the channel taken down, the fact you've made these things without saying allegedly. But the bottom line of it is, they probably won't come after you with their lawyers because you've got no fucking money. You're not worth suing. But, mate, seriously, maybe just think about engaging your brain before you engage your mouth in a public forum.
Okay.
Just caution that. Just throwing out that one out there. I've been doing this YouTube for about 10 years, mate, and you just chuck your foot in your mouth fucking big time. So maybe, okay, we can talk about it, but the actual word on Treloar and Steve-O and Phillips was they were out for the salary cap. That's
I wasn't talking about. I never mentioned Phillips. You just said that.
No,
I said Sam Murray.
I'm saying what I said. I said Treloar, Steve-O, and Tom Phillips were all apparently moved on because of the salary cap.
No, Steve-O, hang on, Boomer. Steve-O was.
That's what I thought.
Steve-O was ousted.
We'll leave it at that.
Hang on, whoa. Hey. Steve-O was ousted for the gambling stuff. That was the reason he was causing more problems around the club. And when they had that was the Steve-O incident. Treloar's incident because of the salary cap, and plus he was having mental health breakdowns around the players during COVID. That's been documented. That's a fact.
Yes. Yep.
They had a lot of problems up in Queensland, and Stevenson was one of the problems up in Queensland. Oh, sorry, Ginnivan was one of the problems. Was it Ginnivan? No, Stevenson. Sorry, Stevenson was one of the problems up in Queensland.
Yeah. No, Stevenson was before Queensland.
No, he wasn't.
Well, no, he wasn't.
Stevenson really struggled in the hubs big time. You're right, Stu. It was.
Yeah, it was COVID.
Yeah, it was.
Stevenson was at North Melbourne during the hubs.
No, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
I know that. You just have to watch 2020 highlights.
No, he wasn't. He was at Collingwood during the hubs.
Yep.
And he was nicking off and.
Did he go to North in 2020?
2021 was
it
girls
back. Yeah, but that's right. But that's not when the hub was. He was in Collingwood in the hubs in Queensland. Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was
because 2020 was when they had the whole trade period where it was like Grundy. No, was it Grundy? Anyway, yeah, Stevenson, Phillips, and there was a third one, Sevo. That was all 2020. All at the end of the 2020 season.
Phillips asked for a transfer to Hawthorn. Treloar did not want to leave Collingwood. Treloar was the one that didn't want to leave, and then Grundy was basically shopped over to Melbourne just because he was told he wasn't going to be the senior ruckman. So
it was money for that, and they didn't want to pay the money, and that's why it was shopped. Grundy.
Yes, and by the way, there's always been drugs in the AFL, and there's always been blokes doing drugs for as long as I remember. And so it's nothing new. It's been documented. It's nothing new.
No, you're right.
Let's not pretend that's not going on. And the drug of choice in the last 15 years has been coke. 20 years.
Wayne Carey digestives, we call them nowadays. Remember, he got done at the casino with a little bag of digestive powder, apparently. So we call it the Wayne Carey digestives. And that's actually that was reported.
Hang on, Boomer, weren't you the one saying you can't mention names?
that was on the
Boomer goes bang.
Do I get to report? That was reported in the Herald Sun. He said that's in the Herald Sun. The Wayne Carey digestives.
Let him have it, Boom.
You're funny, Boom.
I do apologise for if I mention names or I've overstepped at all on someone else's stream. Like I'm fairly new to all of this, so I do apologise. But I do enjoy getting among passionate Collingwood supporters, and thank you so much for letting me be a part of it. And I'll remain quiet until I've got something to say. How about that?
That's fine, mate. You just got to bring up specific names, and you're making claims. It's serious stuff. So, sure you're hard to place, but you've got to be careful about that because.
Look, I take sole responsibility for any names, anything that comes of it. If they've got anything to say, they can speak to me directly. I'm sure they won't because that's going to open a big can of worms.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
just on the game, guys, because I do have something I've been trying to bring up for a good hour now because I've had to speed up. But if you look at the statistics of tonight's game, we got pretty much hammered everywhere, like 40 plus more kicks, 30 plus more handballs. But you know where we actually won? Two stats, which to me are really important. One was tackles, 53 to 45, and the other one, believe it or not, was 1%ers, 44 to 32.
Yep.
They're the two 100% right.
Team spirit. They're the ones that are team spirit. That's a good thing from tonight's game. I love the fact that we won those two. With all the other stats, we got our asses kicked and we should have been done by 40, 50 points, and yet we got out with a fucking draw. Who the fuck thought that?
Boomer. Wait, guys, can I say this? Sorry, I'm probably cutting someone off here, but a lot of people, including myself, wrote Collingwood off coming into this. I put a multi on, and I wasn't putting my multi did not include Collingwood winning. I didn't even put a total goals margin in for tonight because I had no idea. I put what I put on. The only reason I lost my multi is because Sidey broke his hand, lost it by 3. Let's celebrate the wins.
I'm going to tell you one, guys. When I was playing indoor cricket, we went out there. This is actually Footscray local, so it's kind of like not local bugs. It's up there a little bit, but we actually made 34 runs, and we're just walking out, and there's this real. Everyone's looking low because you got to make about 100-ish. Less than 100 is kind of not good, and over 100 you win. We made 34. We're rooted. Okay, we're walking out, and I just actually thought, geez, this is going to be a hard fucking 16 overs here. They're going to get this really easy and probably thrash us. I said, look, guys, the way it goes, if anyone thinks we can't win this game, you can just fuck off now because I'd rather play a man or two down who rather than play with 8 people who don't give a fuck, I'd rather play a man or two short. So if you want to keep playing, come in and play, but at least put in a good effort. First batting pair, because there's 4 batting pairs, first batting pair made 28 of those 34 runs. Fuck, 6 runs to go. 10 overs to come, or 12 overs to come. We're fucked. Guess what? We won that game by 2 fucking runs. And I, to this day, still remember one of the best wins ever when you have totally fucked it up. You are down and out and in the toilet, and yet you still come back and won. Like that time we came back, Collingwood 54 points over North Melbourne last year or the year before. Fuck, mate.
We were down and out in the toilet in that game for sure, Booms.
Yeah, 54 down. I think they got a goal after half time. We were 54 points down. That still wasn't enough. Apparently, Bros kept on ribbing Sherry about that, saying, we're going to come back.
Sherry, Nick Souvlaki, all of them. We were giving them heaps.
Is someone beating up their wife or what? What's fucking going on in the background there?
I'm not doing anything, but I'm thinking about I'm just enjoying. I feel like I ruined your stream. I'm sorry, mate. All right.
Certainly, I've never heard these guys so quiet before. So
they're waiting for me to drop another bombshell. Everyone's got everyone's got their son on speed dial and they got their record ready. Me to drop another one. I ain't dropping it. Got nothing to say, mate. Hey, no comment.
I can neither confirm or not deny the rumours.
Oh, mate, it's trouble I could get myself in. I ain't talking about it. I got nothing to do with it. Oh, jeez.
At the end of the day, it's all vibes, so it's all good.
Don't forget, AFL players are human beings.
They certainly are.
They are, and I mean, we put so much expectation on them to do this, do that, do things that we couldn't do ourselves in the same position, under the same pressure, in the same circumstance, in that scenario. No chance. No chance. That is why they're the AFL player, and that's why we're talking about it on a stream after a game. I mean, my claim to fame with football is I had to run in the seconds in the SNFL on bloody Travis Johnson, right? Like, all right, we've lost 8 players. It's your turn to run on him, Brendy. Yeah, right. No worries. Worst game of my life. I had to retire after that.
Yeah.
Anyway, everyone's still waiting for something for a punchline, or I don't know.
I think they're just waiting. They think that you're like gonna just doze off, and
No, I work night shift. I'm not dozing off. I'm coming into my prime, so I mean, I can shut
I'm just enjoying the good vibes. That's all.
It's a good vibe. Look, I'm having a good time.
The vibes are peaking right now.
They are peaking. We're up and about. Personally, I think we're in a very important list management position right now where we need to make some big decisions. We're looking at a few very important players retiring that didn't play tonight. One that got very injured with a broken hand. Perryman, he'll be out for a good 4 to 6 with his hammy. That's a bummer because he's not going anywhere in the meantime. But he is our most accountable midfielder. So Angry Anderson has got a bit of a task right now. He's got a task because he's going to be asked to do something that's not a confidence building role, and that's an accountable midfield role. So I don't know. I don't know if he's got it in him because right now he seems like a confidence player.
Yeah. In terms of Pez being injured, though, do you have like a VFL player that you want to see have a game? Obviously because he plays obviously a halfback and stuff. Is there Is it like do you watch much of the VFL?
I do, absolutely, mate. I personally, from the VFL, I think it's more of a shuffle, and I think a lot of it's got to do with Howe. So Howe's obviously going to come in because he's having a rest, just like Pendles is, and so he's good because Howe, in my opinion, is the reason that we have so much. I mean, tonight is a bit of an anomaly because we, personally, in my opinion, I think Fly out-coached Mitchell. That's why we got where we got tonight. And accuracy, obviously, which that's got nothing to do with the coach. That's just guys able to execute what they've been learning their entire lives, like all of us have. As soon as we could have stood, we had a football and we were hoping we were one of these guys, and they're doing it for our club that we support, and they were able to do it, and they were able to do it a lot better than they did against Essendon. So thank God for that. But I think coming from the VFL, obviously, if you're going to have one drop, you're probably looking at Long, like realistically, to come back, Ed Allen to come back. As long as was already in the side, obviously. You're looking at Ed Allen, but you're not going to look at Ed Allen to take that same role. You're going to look at someone else to take that role. I mean, you'd almost even look at a Sullivan to come in and take that role if you really need to, depending on who you're playing. Because you need to find someone that can hold a opposition midfielder accountable. So if you can hold that midfielder accountable, I don't know if Ed Allen's that type. Ed Allen can fill a role for someone else that can fill that type, if that makes sense. It's about shifting magnets.
Yeah, because it's kind of a weird one for me because I could even see them play Swaddling even because Swaddling, in terms of the role he plays and what he does on the field, he can play that half-back role. He can sort of...
how's his accountability, though?
It's actually not too bad. In terms of the way he covers the ground, he is very... I don't want to say he's like Nick Dacos in that regard because that's
that's not the role.
Like that, then
of course.
No, but I'm saying in terms of the way he covers the ground because he'll play midfield and half back, but you'll even see him up in the forward line at times, or not forward line, but he'll be around the 50. So he runs similar patterns like he used to. But the thing is that with Swaddling, he's actually got a bit of pace on him, so he can actually outrun and he can get to the positions quickly. So it wouldn't be the worst position for him to play if he was to debut. But for me, because he's been playing in the midfield and he's been getting all the touches at VFL level, I would probably if he debuts, I would want him to just start in the middle, so that when he's ready, he's ready to play. He's the main role. He's meant to play. But if that's an injury thing. And it's hey, there's a halfback opportunity at play. He can do that role really well because he even sweeps side bottom really well. He does that sweeping role where side bottom, where he sort of sweep the ball around halfback and sort of play the quarterback sort of role.
Defensive winger.
So he can even do that. Yeah. So
I hear. Yeah, I think you're right. Look, with Swaddling. I don't know. I think you're right, but I think if you bring in Swaddling in, you need to maybe move a magnet of an established player into that specific role to give Swaddling a role. Swaddling could. That's why I'm I don't know if you can tell by my voice or whatever, but I'm sort of torn by it because I hate giving a kid like that so much accountability. And at the same time, I know when he comes out there and he does that and he plays his role, he's going to maybe come off the ground with 5, if you're lucky, 8 disposals, right? But he's going to have done so much to make sure the opposition's had 12 rather than his 20. And it's not going to. It's going to be celebrated internally, and maybe guys and people rather than guys, people like us are going to look at it and go, "Oh, that's great," because we know what we're looking at and what his job was. But you're talking about the average Joe Blow watching the TV. They're going to go, nah. And then he's going to be on Fox Footy. He's going to go, they've just played this kid and he's just had 3 disposals, and his opposition that he played on's had 12, and 3 of them resulted in a goal. But 3 of them could have resulted in a goal, but 7 of them might have if Swaddling wasn't playing. But what about Charlie West? Our biggest problem, let's face it, has been, other than tonight, has been accuracy and potency in the forward line.
Yep.
What's the problem with Charlie West? Why are we not bringing him in?
Honestly, that's an answer I can't give you because I've seen Charlie West in actually, no, I can give you an answer. The only thing that I can see that stopped him from obviously his debut, but for him to play a game consistently, is that he always seems to have injuries, and not injuries to the point where he's out for 4, 5, 6 weeks. He'll have those little injuries. Like he had I know last year he had a foot injury towards the back end of the year. So that sort of
after St Kilda.
Yeah, and that was pretty annoying for him. And even just this year where he sort of had I don't know if he missed it or if he just played it but yeah, he's had I think he's had niggles around his foot. He's had foot issues and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess when you're kicking so many goals, I guess it's just a part of the trade. But yeah,
part of leather poisoning, you reckon?
Yeah, pretty well. When you watch him kick 6 goals every week, it's got.
They call it turf toe. Charlie West calls it goal toe.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. And because I think what did he kick? I think he kicked 4? Yeah, 4 because Buller kicked 5 last week.
He did, yeah.
He's had a pretty good run the last 2 or 3 weeks. So, but then again, it's with McStay, as much as McStay's had his critics, I think he's doing enough to keep his spot each week. So, I would love to see West in there, but I don't think, because at the end of the day, the players that are playing in the VFL, they need to take their spot, not just exist and then a spot opens up.
That's right.
We need to be teaching them to take the spot.
Thank you.
So I don't think, as much as I love West, and for me personally, I think you can maybe create a conversation where you can be hey, West is starting that conversation, taking McStay's spot, but it's not to the point where, but he needs to, if say McStay's performing at a 9 out of 10. Charlie needs to be a 10 out of 10. He needs to be an upgrade, when you do those things. And I just don't think he's an upgrade yet.
I personally think a lot of it's got to do with the opposition defenders. You're coming up against a tall defence, you're bringing in Buller. You're coming up against a smaller defence, you're bringing in West.
I don't know if I agree with that actually, because West is 195 centimeters. But the thing is with West, his ability to be a forward, and when I say that, I mean in terms of positioning, running patterns. He would have similar running patterns to a Tim Membry, but the difference between him and Tim Membry is that West is 195 centimeters.
You know whose running patterns are severely underrated, and something we're going to miss so much in maybe 24 months is Elliott. What Elliott does, and what people don't recognise he does, everyone thinks Elliott's having a bag, or maybe not yourself and everyone else that's listening to this, because if you're listening to this right now, you're an absolute diehard Collingwood supporter, and good on you. Go the fucking Pies. But, excuse my language, but without someone like Elliott, Oh my God, our forward line is in disarray. Absolute disarray. He does things that people don't realise he's doing. He is probably one of the smartest forward line players, and when it comes to running patterns and what he creates and how he brings other people into the game without you even realising he brings it into the game as a spectator, it's on another level. And the only other person that comes close to that's probably McStay. And that is McStay's draw card, because McStay, with what he outputs when it comes to goals and defensive efforts and all of that, and pressure, is probably not adequate. But what he brings in as when it comes to forward patterns and creativity is insane for everybody else, because he creates space, he puts blocks on, he creates a diversion. He does all these things that people are just like completely oblivious to. And he's our sort of North Star, if you get what I'm saying, when it comes to our forward line outside of Elliott at the moment. And that's the thing that people like West and Buller need to learn, especially if we're going to go and get someone like King.
I don't think we're getting King.
Right, you don't?
No, I think we get a second tier forward who's going to cost us a lot less. I think it's more important to get a gun midfielder.
We're looking at potentially having $6 million spare a year at the end of this year.
I reckon that's better spent in our midfield and get because King is going to. I think if we've got classy a midfielder, it matters less who our forwards are, because we're moving the ball better.
I hear, but so let's say we've got the bottom end. Let's say we've got the bottom end of like what we should have spare, given who we're delisting, what we've got spare, and where we've front ended and backloaded things, right? So we're going to come into this trade period with absolute bare minimum $4.5 million per year up our sleeve for 2 to 3 players. Bare minimum $4.5 million. So let's round that up to 5. Okay, so you've at least got $2 million for a Butters or $2 million for a King. You're saying you'd rather take the Butters, I hear, but let's just say that that's closer to $6 million, because let's re-rookie Pendlebury, or let's move a contracted player, right? And let's offload that, and let's make sure it, or, unbeknown to anyone, we've front-ended or we've paid extra on crisp. We've paid extra on Crisp's salary this year. So next year and going forward, because let's not forget Crisp is out of contract next year, we've up for, so maybe we've got $7 million. So we've got $2 million to this player, $1.8 million to this player. Oh, all of a sudden, well, what's that? That's 3.8 4.8 to 5 mil. All right. Like, we've still got maybe $2 million up our sleeve, and we're getting a Humphrey, and we're getting this player. Like I'd happily trade more if that means on top of that we can go get a Jordan Butts, who's let's say Jordan Butts is he's 26 years of age. Jordan Butts can come in and play second fiddle to Frampton, right? And he can be that second tall running along with Frampton. And look, Frampton's going to be that stop. And then you got Butts, who's going to be that intercept.
Yeah. And then you can make more as like a bit of a what I call like a free man, basically, is like he can basically be on the field, but he can essentially be a rover without being a rover. It's like going between like the forward and back line.
Oh, no, I'm saying trade more. I'm saying trade more.
Yeah, but again, as we said before, like you're probably not going to get any value out of him, though.
Prendy,
You reckon North wouldn't pay an end of first round pick for Moore?
Not an end of first round.
We're not getting
end of first round for a 200 centimetre full back who's a premiership captain. They don't grow on trees. You can't get someone who's going to come in and just do that for 4 years for North Melbourne until they develop one.
I don't think it's a first round pick, no.
And he was decent in 2023. He's been a poor for more than 2 years. No other
Don't
team.
get me wrong. He's not played you're 100% right. He's not played a very attractive role as a supporter. But what he does for a club, don't get me wrong. Like I'm a supporter, just like you guys. Yeah. He's been less than, and I'm trying to say this politely, he's been less than ideal as a key back because we've seen him play in that intercept role. And that's when Howe's not in the team. Howe's not going to be in the team next year, so let's take more out of the team as well. The only one you got in there is Frampton. Now, Frampton's good for. Look, Frampton's not bad as sort of like a second fiddle for Moore, but let's break it down even more.
By far our best key defender. He's the second most important player side after Nick Dacos. He is solid.
Frampton
Darcy Moore is a liability. There is no club who would take him. If he gets delisted, someone might pick him up, but no one's going to trade.
I disagree with you, and that's based on it's based on the Mac Andrew thing, right?
Apart from reputation and past glories of being a premiership captain 3 years ago, what does he offer on the other side?
200 centimetre intercepting player that can also play a role and be a mouthpiece for your club for society.
Okay, so do we have to package up that trade for a first rounder? Do we also package up a time machine, Doc and Marty McFly, so that they can send 2023 or 1985?
A very good point. Very good point. I don't know how you do it, but if you got the recipe, I'll take it.
Let me ask you a question. Who do you think would take him? Who would take Darcy Moore? Which club would
Straight off the bat, you're talking Sydney or North? Straight off the bat. Both teams, if you ask me, are North Melbourne. Because one of them's way north of Melbourne, the other one's just at Arden Street.
I don't know about North Melbourne, but Sydney, they could do a huge marketing with the Mardi Gras. Darcy would be wearing rainbow colours. That would be huge. He would.
I've got a lot to say that I'm not going to say because I learnt my lesson.
I'm just saying that, like, that would be. He would be right.
There's a lot to say that I'm not going to say, mate. I love Darcy Moore. I think Darcy Moore is a fucking incredible person. In a lot of sense, I've heard a lot of very negative, like about him refusing to take photos with friends of mine's daughters and other people I know that are Collingwood members. He's like, nah, I won't have a photo with your kid. You know, it's pretty disgusting, which is not very captain-like. But I think what he provides and what he's worth, it could be worth a lot more somewhere else where they don't give a fuck. They don't care about his
being good
off fields as much as what his on fields are. And there's too much emphasis on his off field at Collingwood and what he has on field when he is not the one would. Right. So Collingwood is often been used as the one would. So as soon as he's back in, Frampton's been put to the side. Frampton's not allowed to play to his strengths. Frampton's strength is all right. You can play him in the 2023 grand final as a defensive forward that shuts down the opposition interceptor. Sure, you can do that, but then you can go and put him against however many more teams against their interceptor, and he will shut them down.
Better than 23 now, mate. You really are you really are, I think, not taking notice of what Frampton has done since 23. Yes, 23 was it? Yeah,
He's our best
he's
defender.
stepped up. He's improved. He's had 5 out of 7 games this year. He's been our best defender.
I was one of the biggest celebrators when we drafted him.
Yeah,
because I thought it was one of the best things we did because there was no one to support more as the number 2.
Hey, he's been our best defender and most reliable defender this year. And I tell you what, he's
more than
over
this year,
Darcy
mate.
Moore has been. He has done some valiant jobs
Darcy
against
Moore's
the
done
odds.
some.
And you've got to remember, he's played a lot without Darcy and also Jeremy Howe over a period of time as well.
That is exactly my point. That is why you build a back line. What's Frampton, 27, 28 this year? So
29, I think, later on this year.
Okay, well, that's even worse. So
no, it's not.
I'd rather it be 28. Can we say it's 28? No, let's be realistic. It's 29. So let's say we really badly, like, how many wrong? Noah Howes and a couple of these guys in the VFL are showing some massive things, but they're showing things that are going to replace Howe, like Jath, for instance, and Noah Howes at VFL the other week. Like, it was it 10 and 8 intercepts individually against Essendon? And let's say, okay, it is a subpar like VFL side compared to some, and you're talking it's a big jump to AFL from that. So let's be realistic. Okay, so Noah Howes comes in, and he is the new interceptor that replaces Jeremy Howe when Jeremy Howe retires at the end of this year, because let's be honest, we all know that he more than likely will. Unless he's going to take a $400,000 salary or get delisted and re-rookied. Like, you know.
Hello?
Oh, is he there?
Is he gone? Is he here?
Yeah.
Anyway, guys,
it's actually kind of wild, like even like having a look at the chat, because apparently the chat's saying the Frampton's 30. I never would have guessed Frampton's 30.
I knew he was very close to 30.
Yeah.
In fact, he's 30,
I thought he was 29.
Yeah.
But that's irrelevant. You know, he's pretty much playing like it's his last game. I mean, he knows it's cutthroat at the moment. I mean, and look, if he shits the bed for the rest of this year, he may not get another contract. But I tell you what, let's give credit where credit is due. This guy's been to 3 previous clubs. Adelaide, Port Adelaide, come to Collingwood, big club, and I reckon 75% of his games. Yes, 23 is sort of a bit iffy, but since 23, I reckon he's stood up more than Darcy. I reckon, and I'm not comparing the pair, but you know, Frampton in comparison to Darcy in regards to calibre and name and all that sort of stuff. Let's give a bit of credit to the guy, because I tell you what, he's played on some big forwards, and he's done a good job in a lot of cases. Sometimes he's been touched up too, I will say that. But let's give him a bit of credit, because I reckon we would have been in a lot worse situation last year and this year if Frampton didn't pull his finger out.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you, Dad. I think he's our most important player.
But I think with Frampton, the biggest thing that he's improved on this year is that he hasn't because again, like at the start of the year, he didn't have any supports in the back line so if he was to fuck up, like the back line would fall apart. This was the season where that didn't seem to phase him, where like previously it did. Like, because like there would be times where we had games where we would have certain injuries to, like, you know, Moore, Howe, whoever. And if Frampton was considered, in a sense, like at least to the fans, if we thought, like Frampton was the face of like the back line, he would have sort of crumbled under the pressure, because he would have too many things to then do. This year he's had that role, but I felt like he's handled the pressure of that a lot better than what he has had in previous seasons. Which is obviously great for us, especially with the way we started, because we literally, like, obviously you had like your Maynards and all that, and I'm sure they would have played a big part. But like, you could easily make an argument where Frampton had a lot of Frampton basically had to be a leader in the back line, like this season to start off the year. And if he'd done that in previous seasons, he wouldn't have held his own as much as he has this season. So the fact that he's improved that much and he's stood up as much as he had, that's just a credit to how much he has actually improved since he's been at Collingwood.
He's just been consistently good, not brilliant, consistently good. And I actually think he's actually worked really well with Bruzzy. Bruzzy's been the man, I think, that's tried to do everything over a long period of time with Darcy and Howe when they do get injured. Bruzzy's had to play on some of the taller guys as well. But Frampton's also had really tough jobs too. So and let's not beat around the bush too. We've been sort of like umming and ahhing and putting question marks about Dan Houston in his role in defence as well. He hasn't exactly been perfect either. So, I mean, the defence has been rickety and not consistent. And, you know, there's been guys out of the team through injury and so forth. And Frampton, let's not forget, he copped a few injuries as well from memory last year. He was back and forth. Remember, he had that stint last year in the VFL, and I watched a couple of those games, and he looked ordinary. He really did ordinary. We brought him back, and 2 games back, he stepped up. We're in the finals, and actually he played a big part in that win against the Crows in that final.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. He's not our best defender. I'm not saying he's our number one defender, and he will never be our number one defender, but you know, what he's done, the jobs that he's done to date has been pretty good. I'm saying I would actually give him a B for this season so far in regards to the year. And that most of that is because I think he's done some really good jobs against the odds with a defence that's just missing 2 very experienced defenders that have just been out of the team. So he's actually probably had to switch roles a lot and do something that he's probably not been used to ever in his when he was playing at Port Adelaide and the Adelaide, they didn't know where to play him. They were playing him up forward, playing him at centre half forward, full forward, having him as a ruckman. They didn't know what to do with him. I think we found the spot for Frampton.
Yeah.
But also as well, because I can't speak to I can't remember if the Crows did it as well, but I know when he was at Port, like he would always be in for one game. He'd basically get the same treatment we give to our kids. He'd play 1 or 2 games, get dropped back to the sample, and then he'd have good games. Oh, okay, yep, some guys got injured. Okay, Frampton, you're up. Gets played 1 or 2 games, gets his like 10 disposals. Oh, okay, didn't get that. I didn't touch the ball that much. Back down to the sample, and he'd just be. He'd play like 10 games, but it'd be like 5 stints of 2 games each, you know? So it's like every time he would sort of, you know, get a bit of like continuity going, the next game he'd play would be in the sample. So, it just goes to show once you're fully backed in, you know, where that can like lead. Because a lot of these guys, like, I mean, I've hopped on it way too much, but yeah, if you can get these guys on the path and get them to be like, hey, all we need you to do is just tick these boxes. If you tick these boxes, then we can back you in each week. And then obviously, like, you know, and then you go from there from like, how the future sort of pans out. Because I mentioned it the other week that I had a really good friend of mine who played on the Bulldogs list, and I won't say who his forwards coach was, but yeah, they basically laid out a whole plan. We need you kicking this many goals. We need you impacting the play this many times. Literally, like had like a list of like boxes to tick, and like, yeah, you do all these, and you'll be, you know, considered for selection, and we will pick you. And it was actually funny because his first year that he got drafted and got to the Dogs, he actually ticked every single box they gave him. So he's actually going to debut the first game of his season. But he ended up copping he actually went into a marking contest and some guy tried to take a specky on it. Opposition player tried to take a specky on him, and he copped a knee into the kidney, and he was basically put into hospital for it. And it was a VFL practice match, and he's actually going to play his first game that year. And then I had to obviously get delayed because he was actually in hospital. So,
hey guys,
it's a bit of a story.
Yeah, go on, Manny.
Last thoughts there, Daz.
I was just going to make one comment because you're talking about. I dropped out earlier. Somebody mentioned Ben King. Just a little stat. I've been doing a little bit of homework last couple of weeks on Ben King. His form's dropped right off. So has Gold Coast dropped off. But if you take a look at Ben King, he's fantastic up there at Metricon. Really good on the lead. Takes marks in the goal square. Kicks goals. Just take a look at his form away from that stadium. So I won't say that we shouldn't go after him. I think we should go after Zach Butters. It needs to be the priority. But if we're going to go after Ben King, do our homework, because just imagine all the extra pressure on him playing these big games at the MCG. He's already struggling. Let's face it, the Gold Coast have got a better midfield at the moment than us in regards to talent, the way they get the ball out of the middle and all of that. They proved that last year. But his record, even last year when they were coming out of Queensland and away from Gold Coast, he was kicking 70% less goals away from that stadium. So unless he gets better, and I'm not saying he won't, I just question mark. The query and the question mark is, will he be a good fit for Collingwood in our forward line in a big, at the MCG in these big games, if already he's not got the, the stats aren't showing that he's kicking he's kicking on average 1 to 2 goals when he's outside of Metricon. So that's the alarm bells. Now that may change, but unless we improve our midfield so that we can actually get the ball to a guy like that anyway, so hence bringing in a Zach Butters, it makes no sense whatsoever unless you tidy up our kicking from the midfield, and you've got to do that with a better complement of players. And yes, I would say go after Ben King, but not before getting and having a real crack at Zach Butters.
Yep, agree with that.
Anyway, that's my last bit.
Yep.
Any last words there, Chrissy?
On Frampton.
On anything.
Oh, whatever you want to say.
Well, I was going to say on last thing on Darcy Moore, like that guy was saying before, what do you think Sydney and North would give us for Darcy Moore?
If they give us a second rounder, you take it and run.
I don't think it's going to happen.
You take it, I don't think run and don't look back.
No.
Yeah.
I really don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to play his last games at Collingwood one way or the other. I'd just like to see another captain, that's all. Because I just think the role at the moment, and we are putting all the, we're highlighting the game that he played last night and all of that and the costly mistakes that he made. But what I'm looking at, I'm not just referring what happened last night. This has been a consistent, unfortunate, consistent thing with Darcy now for too long. And since he's been captain, it's been really doing my head in, actually. Look, I'm all for another captain, whether it's Bruzzy for a year because he's got 2 more years to go in the contract, or next year as well. But somebody said earlier that Nick's not ready to be captain. Bullshit.
Rubbish.
That's absolute crap. Crikey, he's doing everything anyway. He's good with the media. He's got the name. The pressure wouldn't phase him one little bit. He's under enormous pressure as it is. Brownlow medal favourite for the last couple of years. Should have won one by now. I mean, the guy's 25.
I tell you, Dad, Collingwood has 3 captains. Collingwood has 3 captains. None of them are Darcy Moore. Pendles.
And if you watch the games every week, Nick is like leading the team every week.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So everyone's saying, and it used to be people saying, I can understand it 2 years ago saying, can't give it to Nick then. I can understand that. But he's matured since then. He's grown since then. He's not, there's weaknesses in his game. There is. But I'm confident that he can get better as he gets past that 26, 27, 28-year-old. It just might make him even better. And you know what? I just think it's a perfect fit, that you go from Pendles to Darcy back to Nick. And whether somebody wants to say give it joint captains for Bruzzy and Nick, I wouldn't be against that either. But for me, Darcy is not the fit anymore. Not now. Go back, improve it, mate. You can be back in the team, play a role in defence. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Matt, but no. I'm not going to shove him out the team yet. I understand what you're saying. But
no, I was laughing at something else. Sorry, mate.
All right, okay, sorry. Yeah. And it is quite laughable. It's so serious you got to laugh sometimes because the cock-ups that he makes on a day-to-day basis when he's out there on the field, and I know Fly's going to turn around and says, well, he's rusty and he hasn't had a good pre-season and give him a bit of time and all this sort of stuff. That was a game that he truly, truly stuffed up for us. And he wasn't the only person that made mistakes, but he just kept on making them. And one glaring mistake right at the end there, drop chest mark and all this sort of stuff. Just don't do that. He's got to be the worst decision maker I think I've seen in the Collingwood football team. As far as a player that's played that amount of games, he is lost. He has got no idea from contest to contest what he should be doing in defence. And I don't think we do. We don't know what he's going to do either. It was frustrating watching him. Go on, Matt. Where you go?
This is how the market rates Essendon. This is how badly the market rates Essendon. I wanted to get on now. Gamble responsibly. I wanted to get on Collingwood at $41, and I forgot to, and they were still $41 after the Essendon game, and then I forgot to get on them again, and at quarter time tonight they were still $41. So fuck, I'm gonna put a cheeky 100 on them. They're now $26. This is for the flag.
Really?
And Hawthorn are paying $6.50. Collingwood $26. That's still some pretty good value. Because if we played Hawthorn in a final, I reckon I'd be pretty confident. I know they're a bogey side, but they're not unstoppable.
Half the odds in 1 week, and had we won that game, I wonder if it shortened a little bit more, down to $15. 20. Yeah,
Darcy Moore. Here we go, Darcy. What are you doing? Interesting.
Yeah,
how it works.
Yeah. So all eyes on Geelong next week. So that makes next week so important now. Got to get the 4 points next week. Have to,
and that'll be Pendle's record equaling game, assuming he plays.
Yeah, well, you'd think so.
What do you, Daz? What do you think about the gold number that Pendle's is going to be wearing?
I don't think he's agreed to it, has he? This has been put out by the AFL. The AFL said, look, the offer is there that, we'll do this for you. He's never really agreed to it.
Requested it.
Oh, did they? But does he really want to do it? I've actually heard him on radio and TV interviews, and I think he's a little bit, I won't say embarrassed, but look, he may just decide to do it. But it's got absolutely nothing to do with Kane Corns or anyone else. Get out of his life. This is the greatest Collingwood player that probably we've had. Certainly my time of watching footy, and one of our best captains, no doubt. A tremendous person as well. And for the media to actually make a big song and dance about it and say, oh, this is ridiculous and all this sort of stuff. Fair income. Just piss off, just piss off. This guy is a once in a lifetime, great player, not just for Collingwood, but in the competition. You know, we're not going to see another guy like this for a while. And, you know, he ought to be totally applauded, and anything he gets, whether he agrees to do it or not, do it is completely up to him. It's got absolutely nothing to do with the Kane Corns of this world who wants to chip in and be all this negativity and all that sort of stuff, just because it's Collingwood, of course. But, you know, rain on his parade and all this sort of stuff. Piss off, Kane, you know?
Yeah.
He's a fucking 100 times, 1,000 times better player than you were. Crikey. No, I don't. Look, good on him. You know, I'll be there, and I just hope we spank him. What would be good is that he plays well, the team plays well, we get a 10-goal plus win, and we march towards the second half of the year. You know, the worst thing would be to lose, obviously. I'm not even thinking about that, but I hope that's something that is, you know, a million to one. But, yeah, you've just got to have all the boys, you know, switched on, play 4 quarters, play like you're playing against Hawthorn, Geelong, Sydney, Brisbane. You know, don't sort of think it's going to be a walk in the park and it's like Pendle's day and, you know, it's just going to happen, because I don't want to see any sort of, you know, spectating from any of his teammates. I want to see them go flat out, bury West Coast, celebrate the win, celebrate the man, move on to the following week.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah. I just hope, like, with the gold number, I just hope he doesn't have a bad one, because it's just gonna, like, at least from my point of view, or get injured. But like with that, like, it's just gonna annoy me if he has a bad one, and then, you know, and then you have Kane Corns like trying to dig the nails in, or whatever the saying is. And just be like, he wanted this, but, you know, because he at the end of the day, he won't tell the truth. Like, he won't, you know, use common sense and think that, you know, Pendles is actually like a good bloke, and, you know, he probably didn't want it from the start to what we were saying before. But, you know, Kane's going to go off, and all these like media people are going to go off and be like, oh, you know, like you wanted this, and, you know, you wanted to put the gold number on, and blah, blah, and it was your day and you couldn't even perform. Like, that's my biggest, I don't know if fear is the right word, but like it's just going to piss me off so much, because it's like this whole glitz and glamour sort of thing for one individual. It just goes against everything that I sort of look at from just football in general, because football's a team sport. Like, at the end of the day, just get the win. You know, that's always been like my philosophy on it. And it's like, obviously, like, yeah, we're going to celebrate Pendles, and Pendles has been incredible. But it's like, we do that shit every week anyway, you know, especially with Pendles at the moment. Like, I feel like every week we're always, you know, praising him, being like, oh, you know, how amazing is it that Pendles is still going and stuff. So the fact that he needs a gold fucking number, like, it's just, I don't know if it's overkill, but it's just, I don't know. It's like, I don't need it, because I'm already appreciating Pendles as it is. You know?
Yeah. Well, I think most people are with you. And, you know, I'm not sure. This is not his idea. It's obviously come from the footy club, and got to the AFL and all that sort of stuff. He could say no if he wanted to, but then that would be probably, then you'd have the other half of Collingwood supporters saying, oh, that's disappointing and all this sort of stuff. Look, I just don't, you know, I think wasn't it Sidey that in his 300 he got injured as well? He was out on his 300th, and then, of course, we know what happened last year in Sidey's 350. It wasn't Sidey, but it was Jeremy Howe, you know, and, you know, we haven't got a real good record in these milestone games, either with the player getting injured themselves or something shocking happening. But the worst thing in the world would obviously him getting injured, but the worst thing in the world would be to let down that man and lose to the West Coast Eagles. I mean, playing a bottom team, to lose when you got 80,000 Collingwood fans there. I'm sure a lot of neutrals will come along and watch as well. So, I mean, I'm expecting 80,000 at least on a good day. And you just want to put in a good spectacle. You want to play like a decent team, represent the jumper, but represent the man as well. Get the W, win well, then move on from there.
Yeah.
His bigger picture is obviously playing in a final series this year, and that's still to come second half of the year. So we need to focus as a team. I agree. Yeah, it needs to be team, but yeah, I can understand. But you know what the media's like as well. They like negativity. So if anything bad happens, they'll use that and say, well, why did you do this and all this sort of crap. But that's the way it is, you know. You just fight against that, and we are Collingwood, and we've been putting up with this for decades, you know, the crap that comes out of the media and they muckraking and all this sort of crap. And they just look for something just for the sake of it, just to cause a ripple. But you don't have to jump on board. What you do, you get the score on the board, you get the W's, get the big wins, shove it up their backsides, move on to the next week, you know. So it's all up to the team, up to the coaches. It's not so much up to Pendles. I'm sure he'll play well. But I'm more concerned about the other guys in the team. They need to play well that day and not embarrass themselves and let the team down or him down.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting if we do play West Coast, and even if we like get the win, but we only win by like a goal, I feel like that's going to be such a weird feeling because it is like West Coast.
Yeah, that would be a letdown.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah, and that's
because,
and,
it's going to happen.
And that's just, but that's the thing though.
West
like, that's
Coast,
just
it'll be West Coast's grand final, like it always is for every lowly team when they play Collingwood.
Yeah.
But they're going to have it plastered all around the change rooms leading up to the game that Collingwood have set this up to showcase Scott Pendlebury against you because they think it's going to be an easy win. Yeah. And West Coast, as shit as they are going to come out and they are going to take it to us and it's going to come down to the last quarter. I'm telling you guys. They're gonna say they have disrespected you. He could have broke the record against Sydney, but they've chosen you. And not that this is entirely true, but the West Coast coaching staff are going to get into West Coast and say, "Look what they just don't think you're anything. Look what they've done. They've got this. He's wearing the gold number." And they've set this up so they think they can have an easy win for his. That's what's going to happen. I'm absolutely telling you.
That's the mentality of the players. They need to be absolutely switched on. We're going to imagine the week leading up to that game. It's going to be Pendles all week. There's going to be interviews, all this sort of stuff. It's going to be like, unless there's another big major footy story that week. And look, the mind games and all that sort of stuff. And West Coast, they travel over and no one's giving them a hope in hell and all this sort of stuff. Rank underdogs. But let's look at they have actually given over the last few years when they have been shit, and they've been shit for about 7 years now. They've actually, not that they've beaten us, but they have pushed us a few times. Admittedly, a few of those games have been at Marvel, but where we don't play very well, but they do push us. They pushed us last year, like, what was it, round 18 or whatever it was last year? Yeah. And we only broke away and got that 3-goal lead sort of midway through that last quarter, but they were hanging around.
Look, 2 years ago, North were up by 50 points at halftime when they were a basket case club. Yeah. Because Collingwood we play what the other side is giving us. Apart from Anzac Day last week and, every time we play Port at the MCG, we just don't smash teams.
No, we're not ruthless.
No,
we're not ruthless. We are not a ruthless team. We may be, like last week was an exception, mainly because Essendon was shit. But, that doesn't happen very often. We are not a ruthless team. You look at a Brisbane, you look at generally sometimes Geelong, those types of teams that have been top 4 for a while, contending for premierships, bloody ruthless. They just, and like Brisbane, the last time they played us, like a few weeks back, freaking hell, they're having a party out there and they were loving it, shoving our noses in the dirt and everything like that. They couldn't care less whether they're 40, 50 points down and playing on their home deck. they just kept loving and they kept kicking more and more goals and rubbing our heads in the dirt and all that sort of stuff. Do you think they feel sorry for us in that situation? No way. You know, this ruthless thing sort of like, I don't know where it's been for the last probably because we, like you said, 2022, 23, like you said earlier, we had all those close wins. We just got away with all of that, didn't we?
Played one
and
quarter.
now
we used to play one good quarter.
Yeah. And now, like you said earlier, it's starting to catch up to us, and a lot of the opposition are now winning those close games. Or we've actually drawn tonight. Last night we drew. We had those 2 draws previous years as well. So we're not getting away with it anymore.
Yeah.
The other thing is that umpires, they try and snuff us out. Like there's holding the ball decisions. Like against Adelaide, those 250 meters just snuffed us out. They realize that's one of the things they can holding the man decisions we don't get, holding the ball decisions we don't get. The opposition can throw it, and they can just do a willy-nilly 50 to snuff us out. So what the umpires and the opposition are doing, if we're 3 goals down at 3/4 time, it's a lot harder for us to get back in front. Just because the opposition have worked us out, plus the umpires know how to snuff us out because they hate us like every other non-Collingwood supporter.
I'll say this about Hawthorn too, and this is like one of the things. I don't know if jealous is the right word for it, but it does kind of like annoy me that Collingwood don't do it as much because Hawthorn. And I don't know, it sort of depends on like how you like look at it, but like Hawthorn don't really seem to be the team that go out of their way to protect the opposition player, and I don't know, because I think the side on him, like, you know, when he copped the football boot to the hand, that was just because he was like sort of like his hand was just on the ground and the boot just happened to be there. But I look at a moment, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, when we played Geelong and Howe had that injury when he broke his arm. And it's moments like that where he could have, like, I think it was Stingle, he could have like taken him out, but he chose not to. And you know, and then in the end, he ended up breaking his arm, and then he like missed like I think it was the first 2/3 of the season or however long it was. Like to me, it's like at the end of the day, it's like, and it's not anything like personal or like anything like that, but there is like a part of me that's just sort of like, if you're in that position, it's not about necessarily taking the player out, but it's a thing of
you're going to make them earn it.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, like even if you look at, I mean, I'll get the error wrong and stuff, but even like someone like a Tony Lockett, whenever he would play and he plays a key forward, if he would lead out and try to mark the ball, if you were in the line of where he was running to mark the ball, you better mark that ball, because if not, then all you're doing there is just sitting there to just be roadkill.
No, you know? he would hit you whether you marked it or not. And do it in a dirty way as well. He was so dirty, Plugger.
And
awful.
Yeah, and it's and obviously there's like a balance between it, obviously, right? But I don't know, there's just like a part of it where we just don't do that as a football club. And again, I'm not like advocating for us to be like dirty, but we
don't have to be dirty. It's like the worst case scenario is that you go for a in the back or too high. But that's just a free kick. It's better to make them earn it because they're going to take the mark anyway. I played full forward, and I just knew if the kick wasn't right, you just knew you were going to cop it. Like it just goes over your head. You just had to go and wear it. And often you get a free kick, often you didn't. But that's just part of playing as a forward, or a back. If you're playing a full back or full forward. Sometimes you're going to just wear it, and you've got to wear it, and that's just part of it. But so I know what you mean. Collingwood players seem to tiptoe around hurting people. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a reportable offence. It's just that's footy. Sometimes you just have to wear it.
Yeah, because I mean, like especially with the side bottom one, I reckon if the shoe was on the other foot, I reckon Sidebottom would see the hand and go, "Oh, I better not step on it." Like he would go out of his way to like not step on his foot, even if like the ball was in the area or whatever. He would like, whether if he jumps over the player or whatever, he would go out of his way to make sure that his football boot or the studs don't go into the opposition player's hand. And it's oh yeah, on with that voice comment with like it's a Sam Mitchell approach. Absolutely, it is. But it's like, but again, it's like it's not necessarily like a thing of like, oh, let's actively like take him out. Like obviously that's not what I'm like advocating for, but there is a bit of a, I don't know, it does sort of like annoy me that it's like we go out of our way to look after the opposition. I mean, there are exceptions to the rule. Like I didn't mind how we treated Petrarca, because, and I can't remember if the game was on the line when he was out there.
But Bruzzy plays like that, so you'd expect that from Bruzzy, and he's it was unfortunate, and you know he didn't go out to stuff his career up or anything like that. I just will say this: I think Craig McCrae has just implemented this into pretty much every single player. It's even through the VFL as well. If you have a look, we don't hurt players with a lot of tackles. We don't crunch them in the marks, in the contested marks and all of that. It's just fly all over again. You know, be a nice team, play nice, play nice. Play nice. If you don't get the win, it's like his comment, which I don't agree with, by the way. He said last year, we want to play like winners, even if we lose. I don't like that comment. No. If you lose, you lose, mate. You might lose by plenty, and you might lose badly, and you might have a lot of passengers in that team. They don't. You should not treat those people as winners.
It's corporate.
There's two entirely different things, mate. There's a W and an L. When you get the W, you move on. You take the win. You move on. You get your points. You go up the premiership ladder. When you lose, it's quite often the L. You don't get any points. You go down the premiership ladder. You don't succeed. This win and lose situation, which he has, I don't think he's said it this year in his post matches or anything during the week, but that has driven me crazy since he started saying that last year. The only coach that says it, if we lose, we want to act like winners and all this sort of bullshit. Yeah. Mate, if you lose, you
Monday,
lose.
You don't know whether we've won or lost. Well, there's a problem there. Because
that gets psychologically, it's in their heads then, which is probably a reason why we don't bury teams and win by big margins, because we don't want to do it, because Fly doesn't like it.
Yeah, well, that's just my opinion. Because like at the end of the day, if we don't have that hunger to, get the best out of ourselves and to bury teams. If that appetite at the contest isn't there, well, you're not going to be performing in games where you are going to be beating teams by 10 goals plus. Like, especially, if you're playing like a bottom six side, you should be beating them by 10 goals.
You don't hear Damien Hardwick say those sorts of words. We lost, but we want to act like winners even when we lose. I've heard Damien Hardwick say so many times, we got our pants pulled down. We got embarrassed. He just says it as it is, If you lose and you lose badly, you come out and you say it honestly. We got belted or we got embarrassed. You don't come out and say, "Oh, we lost, but we want to hold our heads up and act like winners," and all this sort of bullshit, mate. Yeah, kumbaya. Yep. Yeah. Sing the melody. Nah, too much of a preacher. Fly's too much of a preacher.
Yeah, he's a politician.
I've got a good name for him now. He's the preacher of Collingwood.
He's a PR man. He's a company man. You know what? You mentioned Hardwick before. Hardwick, Chris Scott, Sam Mitchell. I cannot stand those.
Neither
blokes.
Can I.
But I tell you what, I respect them. They're fucking
hard
wankers,
hard people.
But they are good football people, and their players play for them. And there's no bullshit. They wouldn't be doing this fucking woke crap about just come in on Monday. It doesn't matter if you've lost or you've won. We're going to cuddle each other and we're going to put our arms around you. Get fucked. Joke.
Yep. Well, that's it. I mean, people saying that Fly is one of the greatest coaches ever. Oh, come on. Good coach, yes, not greatest coach and all this, and trying to compare him to Chris Scott. I know Chris Scott's only won a couple of grand finals, but he's no pussyfooting around. I do get pissed off though with both the Scott boys when they start coming up with the fucking blame game and all this sort of stuff. I don't like that either. But that's their. They quite often make excuses and cock about. I mean, they whinge about the umpires and the rules and everything more than any coach. But what I will say is that at least they come out, if their team gets flogged like last week,
they're upset.
When Port Adelaide gave them a lesson when they were expected to win. You reckon Chris Scott didn't give him a rocket, and he wouldn't tolerate another performance like that this week. And he's not going to. And I'd imagine they'll react and they'll rebound pretty well. Thank goodness it's not us this week or next week, hopefully. But the fact is, you get him on the knife edge during the week, and you'll have him playing better because he wouldn't have accepted that sort of shitty performance last week.
The other thing is that Chris Scott will say it publicly, going, "That's not good enough." Like he's basically saying to the players, "Hey, when we have a shit performance, Fly's like, no, it's we're going to learn. It's a lesson, and we're all learning. We're
learning curve.
We're trying to get better. We're growing. It's growth. Fucking hell.
Yeah, we're a plant.
It's
we're growing.
Infuriating.
Nah, there's so many different pieces to being a good coach, and Fly's a good coach. He's not a great coach. You've got to be tough on some people. What about Clarko the other day when he was criticised of having a crack at that other guy? What was 2 weeks ago, wasn't it? That North Melbourne, I forget his name, young fella. And all these bloody softies coming out saying, "Oh, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't point the finger," and all this sort of stuff at him, mate. Honestly, talk about a bunch of wowsers and bloody,
wowsers,
softies. No, Fly would never do that. He would never go to a player and stand toe-to-toe to him and point the finger. He would never do that, and he probably never has done it. I'm absolutely 100%. I'd put my life on it. He'd never do it. He's not the sort of coach that would do it.
Has anyone seen Fly's presser?
No.
Haven't heard it or seen it. I can just imagine what he's going to say, though.
Yeah, fucking idiot.
Same old shit.
Yeah.
Hey, guys.
And I bet he'll defend Darcy more.
You absolutely. That'll be the first thing he does. He'll make a point of talking about how great Darcy is.
Yeah, but would any journo actually have the guts to bring up that topic?
Never.
No.
Would they have the guts to press him on that topic?
No.
The Collingwood captain, last premiership captain, the AFL Players Association rep, would they have the guts to say to Fly, now Darcy, had a shocker, too many errors there, bit costly, mate, did he come back too soon? Did you consider playing him in the VFL? What's going on there? No, they wouldn't have mentioned any of that. It wouldn't, more of the team, and in any case, even if he was asked it, what Fly's response would have been? He's
a premiership captain. We all make mistakes.
Yeah.
All the good stuff. All the good stuff.
I'll never take the captain off him.
I said to Darcy, in fact, we all make mistakes. I said to Darcy, mate, I wish you'd made more mistakes because that's how we learn. That's how we grow. And in fact, I said to young players there, we've got a guy called Wills Hayes. I said to him, mate, you need to make mistakes like Darcy more because we're not losers. We're winners, even when we're losing, even when we're having a draw. So, I thought Darcy was good. I wish he'd cost us more goals. In fact, that's how we grow. He would actually say that, though.
He's a favourite. He's my favourite. He's one of my favourites. Don't you know that, guys? He's one of my favourites. I'm not going to drop him. He's one of my favourites.
I'm on the side with him. I'm on the side with him. He's my secret boyfriend.
No. He's in the same categories as Lipinski. more. Ned Long. The list is growing.
I've got a threesome
We're
with
not a
both
finished
of them.
I want them to love me. I want them to love me. I love them. I want them to love me. Put our arms around each other. Go out and have a meal together. Have a kiss and a
We're gonna go on
cuddle.
first
Yeah.
date. We're not the finished product. We're far from it. We're growing
That went well too. That went well, by the way. Sauce. Yeah, that went well. My God, that went well.
Oh, what a deal.
Nah, seriously. Hey, I might go off in a minute, but leave because I was at the game. My voice was going to crack up earlier. I didn't think it was going to last. But one last comment. I'm just hoping. I can't wait for the day, and I'm sure it'll happen, but I'm not sure it'll be immediate, when we'll see the great man, number 10, Scott Pendlebury, coaching the Collingwood Football Club. It'll happen, I would imagine, at some point. I assume he's been coaching juniors, so I think rather than go in the media, where he probably likes as well, I hope we can, get him back and certainly be our senior coach down the track. Have you ever seen and watched?
He is our coach now.
Have you ever seen a more with it, intelligent, intellectually good on the field, not only on the field, but he's obviously very good off the field too with what he says and sees. The guy is a computer as far as like an electronic computer and a robot when it comes to what he does out there and his knowledge of the game. Dare I say, basketball background and all of that, what he's actually been able to achieve in that 20 years is unbelievable, and it's still happening. And then you can just imagine all that 20 years of football career, and even prior to that, all the knowledge, all the things he can pass on to. I just want him to pass it on to our players. I don't want him to pass it on to opposition players.
Yeah. Well, we've got to remember about the Tony Shaw and the Nathan Buckley.
Yeah, I realise that. I think
I know
Pendles will be different,
people, but I would like him to do an apprenticeship elsewhere and then come and be a senior coach. Yeah, that's how.
Which I think he'll do. Yeah, I think he'll do. But I don't want him at Carlton. I don't want him at Essendon. I don't want him at the other big, any Victorian big Melbourne football clubs. No, I don't want him there, especially Carlton. That would really piss me off. But, if he and the way things are going, who knows? He might step into Carlton, and because Vossi's on thin ice there, who's to say? But they'll offer if they do. And they might have even spoken to him even last year and this year through the manager and all of that. But they may be scratching the surface there to see what his thoughts are.
I'd like him to go to a Hawthorn, as much because I hate these clubs, a Hawthorn or a Geelong, because the only thing that Scotty could learn is a bit of ruthlessness. He needs to go to successful clubs where their coaches are cunts. No, I don't want him to. I don't want him to turn into a cunt, but you know what I mean. Just to show, he's had Bucks, he's had Fly as coaches. Mick, obviously, probably the best traits of him probably come from Mick Malthouse, who was a hard man. But you get a bit of Scott Pendlebury mixed with a bit of mongrel, and then you have the perfect coach. So if he's going to go somewhere, go to the enemy, go to where you've got those blokes who are absolute pricks, but they know how to coach and they don't scared about offending people.
Most of the coaches that have got mongrel in them are like the defenders, though, like Hardwick, Scott Boys, and all of that. Sam Mitchell's got a bit of that too, definitely. I had to laugh during the week when he was saying to the media, and I didn't fall for it. He turned around and he said, somebody asked him, says, Collingwood going to manage a few players. There's a few out. They're resting a few. Pendles is out. Jeremy Howe's out. What about Hawthorn? He said, we're going to do the same. And no one bothered to click and say, well, who, which players and all that sort of stuff. You look up their team gets released, Thursday. Team gets released on Wednesday, and basically the same team as it was the previous week. It was just bluffing.
Better,
absolute bluffing.
they dropped a couple of players and brought in like Sicily and
brought
someone
in-
else.
They strengthened their
that's fine.
team even more. Yeah.
Good on them, but
Yeah.
watch them, see how they go next week. Who are they playing?
I don't know. Who they playing
next week?
Probably got an easy one, yeah.
I bet you they've got a softie.
Uh,
Like Richmond or something.
They're probably due for Richmond or someone like that. Probably.
They've got the Dockers in Perth. Okay.
Well,
good Hawks.
That'll be a good game.
Yeah, good Hawks.
Well, someone's going to lose one there. Yeah, that'll be interesting. That'll be pretty physical, I would imagine. Definitely, that will be.
All right, guys.
interesting.
I'm gonna shut this shit down. So, thanks, guys, for coming on. We've just lost Daz. Thanks for coming on, Daz. Thanks, Chris, as always, mate. Sean from Ultimate Greatness, always a pleasure. Hope Mick, you're listening in. I think Mick might be somewhere over the Nullarbor Plain at this stage. I think he's flying in tonight or something like that. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Stephanos, Voidoid, who else? Joshy. Thanks for hanging in there. And everyone else. Mello, Abdullah. I don't know. If you told me we were going to get a draw tonight, I probably would have taken that, but not the way it ended up. We should have won that game. Anyway, I hope that sent a message to the AFL world. We can definitely mix it with the best. And
well, I'll see you next week, Matt. I'm getting on the plane tomorrow.
I think we can take it right up to the Cats. I'm pretty confident.
I'll see you next week, Matt. And
I will see you, Sean, at the G.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. All right. Catch you later, guys.
All right, see you.
Thanks, guys.